All right, 6:02 in the Rose City. Time for Dirt and Sprague on Portland Sports Leader 105.1 The Fan and the Fan Sports Network. Good morning. Happy Monday, everybody. Happy December 1st.
What is happening?
Nice to see you again.
Hey, it feels like it's been a month and a half, man.
Yeah.
You take 4 days off after not missing any shows all fall. I feel like we've been off for 3 weeks, dude.
The wife was like, it's nice to have a 4-day weekend. I was like, it absolutely is.
Feels
You're
glorious.
100% right there.
Yesterday was a weird feeling, too. I don't know about you guys, but not having that much time off usually. Thanksgiving felt like, by the time I got to yesterday, that it was like 2 weeks ago.
I suffered from the Sunday scaries yesterday.
Did you? You're like, oh, here we go. Got to get that alarm going again.
I mean, it's not a not wanting to do the job.
No.
What are we going to talk about? Obviously, there's a million things to talk about.
This might be the most loaded Monday we've had in a long time.
It's more just like I've been off from doing anything of real responsibility.
It's a good feeling when you have no responsibilities.
That I'm like, damn, it all has to kick back in tomorrow.
Tonight when I go to bed, I got to set an alarm.
Yeah.
And that means you have responsibilities. You got to get up. You're not just waking up whenever you want to wake up, man.
Yeah, it is. It's kind of a crazy Monday show because there is so much to react to from what happened Wednesday when we signed off,
Yes.
Thursday, Friday, and then obviously Saturday and Sunday in college, the NFL, and all the dealings that the Blazers lost twice since we last checked in.
They did.
It is one of those weird, like, how do you even start to dive into any of it?
There's a lot going on, buddy.
Yeah.
Not to mention the fact that the Thursday games feel like, again, they were 2 weeks ago, but very impactful. Are we getting that nail and hammer out again? Is there a...
We might be getting the nail and hammer.
Is the nail and hammer ready to go?
Well, I told this to Swag, and it caught him completely off guard. I said, we have an elimination game Thursday.
Ooh, who's playing on Thursday? I don't even know.
Don't look.
Okay, don't look.
Let's
All
play
right.
a guessing game.
Who's the Thursday night game?
It's an NFC game.
Aha.
And I honestly think if you think about it, it's probably an elimination from the playoff game.
Packers and Lions? No, Packers and Lions just played. Lions are playing somebody. Mm-hmm. Lions are playing the...
Team with a tie?
Team with a tie. Who tied a game?
We just
the
watched...
Cowboys.
Yes.
The Lions are playing the Cowboys.
Correctamundo.
Look at that.
Would you agree? Elimination game.
I mean, it's trending in that direction, which is really weird to say.
Trending?
I don't know if
I
can say emphatically it's over.
The Lions
Let
will
me
be
look at the
7-6.
I know they would. I know.
And they will be floundering at that point. And the Cowboys, they have the stupid tie.
They do have a very dumb tie.
And everybody's ready to buy in. I love how the Cowboys can win 2 games and everybody in America is ready to buy in.
Yes.
People who don't even like the Cowboys.
No.
The Cowboys might be the most dangerous team in the NFC.
I actually kind of hope that they keep this up just to build up the hopes of their fans, only to disappoint them once again.
Losing the wild card
Like,
round.
the funniest thing that happened that we didn't get a chance to talk about was Joe Fisher, who is our only noted Cowboy fan left because Swag ditched the fandom. He's no longer a part of the tribe. He has left to a different tribe who got a win this weekend. Congratulations. And Joe Fisher came in after our show Wednesday, leading into the Thanksgiving holiday, and we had just done Sprague in the line, and he gave me a snooty attitude about picking against his team. And I just looked at him, and look, he ended up being right. He sent a tweet or a text to us on Thursday.
You mean the fan of a team
a
who
fan
won
of the team
is
very,
right?
very right.
How
right.
weird.
I looked at him and said, are we really doing this again? Like, you're already back in after everything you said in the offseason, and your team traded away Micah Parsons and all of the stuff. That's all it took to get you to buy back in, and that's all that it took to get him to buy back in.
I mean,
so I kind of hope that they win on Thursday just to continue to build it up, get into a wild card game, and then lose by 40 again.
I think we know that fan base more so maybe than any other. There's some loud fan bases. We hear from them all the time. Maybe that fan base more than any other. They will tell you their team sucks. They hate their owner. They're out. They're no good when they're 3-5-1.
Right.
But when they win 3 in a row and they become 6-5-1,
we're above 500, buddy. I don't know if you looked at those standings lately.
You better shut your trap and pay attention to danger.
That's right. The big belt buckles come out.
Yes, it does.
I have not.
The boots are on right now.
Boots
in Dallas.
are on. The belt buckles are out.
I have not heard him utter one word
all year.
All year.
If only the only thing he said about the Cowboys to us has been negative and making fun of the team and Jerry Jones. That's it. Because when they traded Parsons, it was like that's all we got, and now they're back. How dare you pick against my
I don't
team?
know what it is about him too, because my older brother is a diehard Cowboy fan. Like he will just it'll be the logo, the star logo. He's probably going to pay to have on his tombstone type fan.
Yes,
and I haven't talked to him in a minute, but I'd be willing to even say he is not like cocky sniffing, telling you better watch out for my team.
I mean, you're
He's
ninth
seen
place.
this story before.
You're in ninth place in the NFC right now.
I know, but
to your point, though, I did look at the standings because it's all jumbled a little bit at the bottom.
I think it's an elimination game.
I'm with you. I think it's an elimination game.
Yeah.
Are the Panthers good?
Oh, we're going to do that?
Are we going to do that?
What did we talk about off air Wednesday?
Are the Bears good?
Well,
the Bears might be good. Do I got to eat crow? I'm going to die on that hill.
What did we talk about Wednesday off air before Sprague in line?
Picking games? I don't remember. That was 2 months ago.
Panthers were a 10-point home dog, and we said the Panthers just play better at home.
They do.
We saw the real Panthers against San Francisco.
We did.
The Panthers yesterday are not the Panthers.
Are we sure about that?
Yeah.
Positive?
Yeah.
Okay, final
I am
answer.
More concerned about the Rams.
Now we're concerned about the Rams.
Oh, my God.
Yes, I love it.
We
Are the Eagles going to miss the playoffs? Could the Eagles miss the playoffs in the NFC?
You know, we give basketball fans a hard time for reacting to like a 10-13 start. It's 82 games. Shut up. It's like every week a team is either we're panicking
yes,
or we're asking if they're the most legit team. Panthers Rams, great example. You're asking if are they really good?
Are they good? They could be good.
And he's over there like the Rams finally lost a game for the first time in like 8 weeks. Are they in trouble?
They won like 7 in a row or whatever.
No, it's the NFL, dude. Mariota almost beat the Broncos yesterday.
Yeah, that was a fun little end to a Sunday night.
That game was terrible for most of the way.
It was really bad, and then it got really good.
Yeah,
a couple of Duck legends going at it. Duck on duck crime right there.
Yesterday was a perfect. YouTube TV is playing in my pocket. I'm cutting a Christmas tree day down.
Yeah, you got to get the tree. Yesterday was the day
Had
to
get
do
the
it.
Tree.
It was beautiful yesterday. Perfect weather, sunny,
Stunning.
little crisp air.
You still have a couple of days. Like the next couple of days, the rain's supposed to come Thursday.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, I'm seeing sun. Going to get cold at night when it's clear, but
nice and chilly. Got to scrape those windshields now in the morning.
Partly sunny here for the next couple of days.
We usually go to a family farm with my family, and we all go and cut. They got the automatic saws, and I still go hand saw. I'm like old
come
school.
on now.
I'm earning that
automatic
tree.
saw. What are we doing here,
dude? They give me a lot of grief. I use the
Your
hand
family
saw.
does, or the tree farm does?
No, the family does.
Oh.
The tree farm's delightful. They're
Come
always very nice. They're happy to see you. They're happy you're supporting their business.
Yeah.
Like, they're great. It's the family. Every year, for over 12 years now, I have brought a handsaw or an axe, and I earn my tree. I don't care how ridiculous it looks.
That's how you got to do it. You got to earn. I mean, I'm not having somebody else cut down my tree. This was the first time this year when we cut it down, I didn't haul it back myself. There's like a truck that will drive around the farm we go to and like load up the tree as you cut it. And usually I'm like, no, I'm carrying this back down in my car on my own. But with the kid, it's a little bit more difficult now.
Well, I certainly understand that feeling. We'll kind of mix it up. We'll go to different farms. And so some farms will have the little contraptions you can, I'm blanking on the name of it, but you use it to carry boxes, like you stack boxes on it.
Ah, yeah, not a forklift, but I know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
God, I hate when I can't remember those
Two
things.
wheels, and you lean it back, and there's a thing. Yeah. A dolly? Is it a dolly?
A dolly.
Is that the word we're looking for?
Yeah, dolly. Thank you, Miss Parton. So usually we get one of those. This farm didn't have it, so I would have hauled the tree back. But they pulled up with their little tractor and a trailer and go, you want us to take that back for you? I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, sure, why not? Throw it out there.
Toss that bad boy on the old trailer.
My only concern was loading the tree onto the trailer that we loaded it onto. Unbeknownst to me, there were other people in other parts of the farm, and so then we walked back. I said, no, we'll hoof it back. We'll be all right. You take our tree. And then we got back, and there were like 15 Christmas trees on there.
Well, you're supposed to put a ribbon on it with your name.
We didn't have any ribbon on it. It was a brief panic moment.
Did they give you a ribbon?
Because then they just take them off, and then they start loading them into the thing that wraps it up.
Shaker and the wrapper.
The shaker and the wrapper, which I'm like, all right, hold on here. And I had to look up at the driver. I'm like, which tree was mine, buddy? And he pointed me. We got the right tree, so no panic there. But there was a brief moment of, you better make sure I get the right tree out of this thing.
Yeah, if I was a farm and you didn't put a ribbon on it, I'd be like, this is kind of your
ribbon.
fault.
I got no ribbon. Nobody gave me the ribbon.
You're supposed to get a ribbon.
They're supposed to give me a ribbon? Am I supposed to bring ribbon?
They write your name on it, and then you're supposed to tie it to the top of the tree after you cut it down.
Our farm is evidently the old Wild West. There's no ribbon involved at all. You just cut it down, and you got to figure out which tree is yours afterwards.
It was perfect, dude. In my pocket, as I'm almost the tree is about to go down. My kids always want to finish kicking the tree over.
Yeah.
So I'm down there, and there's like, "Are we done yet?" I'm like, "Almost." And as I'm doing that in my pocket, touchdown 49ers!
Yes! Every year when I cut my tree down, I tell myself the same thing too. I really need to get a new saw. And then every year I forget because I don't ever use a saw.
That's the only time I use my
a saw once a year. I'm
Yeah.
not cutting anything around my house. I'm not, building new boards or anything fun in my backyard. And then I forget. And then I go get my tree again the next year, and I'm like, damn it, I still got my crappy old saw. And then I'm down there like huffing and puffing, and the wife's giving me the like, well, what's wrong? I'm like, well, it's hard to cut down a tree with a bad saw. You want to get down here and cut this thing down? It's not easy.
I love it.
Can you lead the tree? Lead the tree. Lead it that way. The saw's stuck. I can't
Now she
move
knows
it.
what to get you for Christmas.
I need a new saw,
Get
man.
the man a new saw.
I need a hardcore tree saw.
Lean
right?
the tree.
Lean it. You get it like when you get those bad saws and you're like halfway through and then the tree's just sitting on it and you're like.
Mine got stuck twice yesterday, and I was like, oh no.
You start getting frustrated, and then you're huffing. And what's wrong down there? It's hard, all right? What do you want from me?
Yeah, outside of the kids asking if it's time for them to judo chop the tree down to pretend as if they did it with their powers.
Yeah.
The wife finally this year, she stepped, she goes, can I try it? I'm like, yeah, I'll take a quick break.
Have had it.
She goes down there, maybe 3. All right, I can't do that. Yeah, it's not always the
This
easiest
is why we
thing.
do it like our forefathers did it. Now the concern for me in the house is yesterday, it's going to be a long couple weeks.
Is he going to start grabbing ornaments and
It's
lights
every
off?
30 seconds.
Really?
Can't touch that. No, can't.
Really?
No, it's every 30 seconds.
Oh no.
So it's gonna be a constant man-to-man defense for the next 3 weeks. We got to figure
Well,
out.
are you just not putting ornaments on the bottom 2 feet of the tree?
That was my
Well,
idea.
what about the lights?
We had a slight disagreement about the decoration of the tree and where
she
certain
wanted
ornaments
even,
should go.
Even distribution.
She
didn't
wanted
she?
even distribution for the aesthetics of it, which I understand. It aesthetically looks beautiful in the living room, but
Okay, just do it once and take the picture, and then
I got a feeling
Put
today
everything
some of
up.
those ornaments might get moved up a little bit on the tree. She's working. I'm home.
Are there
There might be a
ones?
moment.
are there ones that can't break?
Not really. We don't have a lot of non-breakable
So you got the
ornaments
Home
on our
Alone
tree.
ornaments. He
There's a
steps
lot
on
of
those. He's
Balls are gentle with those. That's not
He's
a basketball.
Marv.
That's not a baseball. You can't throw it.
right.
Ball, not different ball, different kind of ball.
Yeah.
We haven't quite
How's
computed
the
in our
dog
head
with
yet.
the tree?
Ah, the
Dog's
dog's
fine?
fine. The dog's fine.
old.
Dog's he's
I
good.
know.
He's hanging out.
And his first rodeo.
He's napping on the couch. There's no issues there. It's the kid who's this is going to be a problem.
It's all right. We put our tree up, and then at the end of the day, we cut it, and then you put the lights on. One strand of lights was dead. The other
That
was half
always happens,
dead.
Yeah.
So I have one strand. We had bought 2 strands at Target on Friday. And I'm like, you know what? I was going to use you something else. I don't care. I'm getting this tree lit. So we start wrapping. One strand is not soft white. It's LED bright ice white.
Oh,
So my
different.
ghetto ass tree is soft white with ice white.
Uh-oh.
And then we bought a tree topper star, and it will not stay straight. So it's like hanging sideways.
You're the Christmas Story dad. He's got to get up there and straighten it. There we go. All right, we got it fixed. All
It
right.
is a ghetto tree, but it's beautiful. It's a beauty of a
There
tree,
you go.
Clark.
I love this text. Somebody said my wife woke me up at midnight on Saturday or last night for the Elf on the Shelf project. Happy December, everybody. Godspeed to you, brother.
I'll just say this:
Godspeed.
You're a good dad.
Yeah.
We exposed certain elements to eliminate that process
We did.
this year, and so I
That-
will never do that again.
That elf has a drug problem. It's in our house. We can't have it around here anymore. Might be stealing our money in the middle of the night.
You could use this as a good. That's a good point because you could use this as a time if you really want to take it up a notch as a parent. You could teach them about overdosing and the dangers of
Yes.
it by using the elf. as
Stay
the
away from
example
drugs,
here.
kids. Look, that elf died. This didn't end well. Okay.
He's not on the shelf anymore.
We're not doing elf on the shelf. Stay away from that. Godspeed to all the dads and moms that got to figure that out over the next 25 days.
Did you ever look up Pinterest boards of elves on shelves? It is like the detail.
It's intense.
Parents will saran wrap the top of their sink. They'll cut a hole. They'll add like paint for touch effect, and they'll put the elf half in with the other elf reaching in as if it followed through ice. And I'm like,
What are we doing here?
when do you take that down?
That's
when
a
does
lot
that
of
ice
free
melt?
time.
Yeah, your
Lot
kids
of
are going
free
to bed, and at night you just got nothing else to do. You got nothing, no TV shows you want to watch, nothing to catch up on. You don't want to read a book, do some food prep. It's nothing important that needs to get done in your personal life. That's what you want to do, huh?
By the end of my elf on shelf days, I'm just gonna tell you right now, it was a lot of, Dad, they just spilt the cereal a little bit again. Oh, same thing, huh?
Wow,
It's weird.
Wow, that's
clumsy.
crazy.
What lazy elves?
God, they're really lazy, man. Good luck, everybody.
Well, 'tis the season. It's good to be back in. A lot of days off, but a lot going on in the sports world. Craziness in college football. The thing we talked about happened.
It has happened.
Marty Smith is free.
Free. He's heading home. Thank
he
God.
Gets to sleep in his own bed.
His hits at the end of Saturday night of like, yep, still here. He had one on the SEC network. I saw. He was like, I sent Lane a text, said, for the love of God, will there be an answer tonight? He has not responded.
He
yet.
had the worst weekend of anybody.
He absolutely.
Max Brosmer, line 1.
Yeah, Jonathan Smith, line 2.
Ooh.
Yeah, there's a few bad weekends out there.
Ooh.
Damon Williams, line 3.
Hey-oh.
But Marty Smith was definitely in the conversation.
That's a good poll question. Who had the worst weekend? Dan Campbell,
Ooh,
Marty
Dan,
Smith.
We're putting Dan Campbell in there. I know it was bad. I know.
Lamar?
That was pretty bad.
14 points against that Bengal defense?
That was pretty bad. Who the hell's going to win that division?
Who cares? That division sucks. That division's
All right, what are our options? Marty Smith.
Let's think about this. Marty
Okay.
Smith.
Jonathan Smith has to be in there.
He got $30 million, though.
I know he did, but he got fired after 2 years in. You fired?
Less than 2.
How long
I
until
guess
he's going to take him to get another head
technically
coaching job?
Max Brosmer definitely has to be.
I mean, that poor guy.
Did he throw 4 picks?
4 picks.
4 picks.
4 picks with a pick 6. They purposely did that to him because they knew that would be J.J. McCarthy if they played him. I'm convinced. I'm in on the conspiracy. I think he got benched, and they didn't want to expose him to even worse things.
Why would any wide receiver, by the time the third quarter ran around, run a route? I would just refuse to run routes.
It's been a hell of a year to have Saquon Barkley and Justin Jefferson on fantasy. 5 points, Saquon. Thank you.
Things are going good.
5. It's been great. Loaded show. Let's get it going. We'll start in the NFL. We'll work our way to college. Big weekend for Dirt Stocks. Big little weekend.
Oh, hello. How's it going, everybody?
Dubs down.
Bow down.
We'll get to that. But we'll start in the National Football League. Dirt and Sprague. Good to be back. Let's get it going on 105.1 The Fan. 'Tis the season. Welcome back in.
Ho, ho, ho.
Got a lot to get to today. So I want to revisit a topic that was brought up a few weeks ago on the show. I think time-wise, it's kind of a perfect time to readdress a topic. Now, there's a lot we give each other grief for, but I just want to ask out loud. So the number one seed in the NFC right now is not good.
No, not good. Not good. Final answer.
Because I'm going to
die on the hill. I have to. There's mounting evidence that I might be wrong here, but I can't. I am not going to acknowledge that evidence.
They haven't lost since you said
I'm not going to acknowledge the evidence until it's completely necessary. And so until we get to that point, no, the Bears aren't good. The Eagles stink. Jalen Hurts can't throw a forward pass. And I think we might be on the brink of what happened to Philly 2 years ago, where they started 10-1.
And then they crumbled.
And everything crumbled and they lost in the playoffs. They've been weird and funky for a while. That offense was terrible on Friday.
You might not want to pivot off your Bears take. And I would understand from a point differential why you'd have that position. But I'd also say, I also don't want to pivot off my take of, I think the whole NFL sucks.
No, I think you're completely right there.
And I all due respect to the teams at the top. All due respect. But, Denver needing a deflection against Marcus Mariota and the beat-to-hell, no-good, very bad Commanders at the end.
Who've just been beaten up by everybody they've been playing.
Kind of I thought, oh, they're 10-2, but my point is still valid there's just different levels of how much do you suck. There's a lot of suckitude in the NFL. The Bears covering a number is one thing.
Sure.
The Bears winning in Philadelphia and doing it in dominant fashion on Black Friday.
To pull away in the fourth quarter. I mean, that was, a 10-9 game going into the fourth quarter, and they pulled away late.
I don't think anybody, including the most diehard of Bears fans, had Monungai and Swift combining for 255 on the ground.
How do they do that against Philly's defense?
How? Well, they're sneaky having a really nice rushing season. The last few weeks, go look at the Bears rushing. Monungai's been a great addition for them.
Yeah,
but Caleb's not even playing well.
No, he was fine on Friday.
He made
but there
the
was
one
nothing
throw
special.
to Kmet for the touchdown that kind of sealed everything. Other than that, it's 50% completion percentage week in and week out. Ben Johnson's taking his shirt off in the locker room, I get why you feel this way, but they're the number one seed in the NFC.
They are.
It's insane.
I still don't think that will happen. Now, again, take this, and it will probably age poorly. So if you're a Bears fan, congratulations, because the more I doubt your team, the more they keep winning. I looked at their upcoming schedule, and I think we all chalked the Philly game as a loss.
So I'm done playing that game.
Maybe it's close, maybe it's competitive, but they're not going to win on the road in Philly, and then they did. The rest of the schedule is still incredibly challenging for them. I would still, if I'm putting money on somebody, put my money on LA to get there. I think that was more of you're coming off a couple of big weeks in a row. You go into sleep in Carolina the week after Thanksgiving. You're a little hungover on your tryptophan high, and you just didn't show up. That's how I chalk up the Rams losing to Carolina, and I still think LA finishes with the number one seed. But as of right now, no matter what my opinion is,
are the Rams going to finish ahead of the Seahawks?
I think that they will, but maybe not. Time will tell, right? If you're a Bears fan, it's been an incredible year because you've hired a head coach that has rallied the team around him. That scene of him in the locker room after the game taking his shirt off was awesome. It was really cool. Whether you like the Bears or not, you can acknowledge it. Caleb's having a good season. Not great, but he's having a good season. He seems like he's settled down and kind of knows who he is. As you mentioned, they're finding ways to run the football. They're not terrible defensively. They don't have great games week in and week out, but they're not terrible defensively.
They have some good weeks, and then they have the Bengals game where you're they cannot get a stop in the fourth quarter.
To your larger point, though, that's a lot of teams in the NFL that I watch you one week and I'm like, damn, you're awesome defensively. And then the next week you get shredded. Denver's, I think, has the best defense in the league, or one of the best defenses in the
Houston,
league.
Yeah.
And then last night they give up damn near 30 to Mariota and the Commanders, which doesn't make any sense, right? So Chicago, no matter what they've done, I feel like at this point they're kind of playing with house money because you look at the back end of the wild card race in the NFC, and it's a jumbled mess. Thursday night might be an elimination game between Dallas and Detroit, and so I feel like you're going to make the playoffs. Whatever happens after there is gravy. It's been a great year. I'm still not going to buy them though, and I'm an idiot like that. I do this a lot in sports, and I shouldn't do it. Haven't seen it, so therefore I don't think it will happen thing. But there's just something about them and their quarterback play that I don't know if I trust them to get a win against an elite defense in the playoffs. But they proved me wrong on Friday because I didn't think they were going to beat Philly.
I know we're already against it because we went long in the open, but I think that's your first point is kind of railroading your second point. right? Like playoff football, we know it's a little different.
It's a different animal.
It's kind of like the NBA in the playoffs, right? It gets a little more physical. Defenses settle in a little bit more. The weather tends to play a factor in a lot of places. Chicago could be one of those places. But your point that you made earlier, coming back to bite you on your end point against elite defenses, in the NFC, who would you point to as elite defensively? Like week in and week out, trust that they'll be elite.
Philly, ironically, would have been one of them. I do think the Rams are very good defensively. I don't know if I'd use elite's probably a fair word for them. Like they're one of the best defenses in the league.
I would probably of all the teams, I'd probably say Green Bay. And I don't, the weird thing with Seattle is Seattle had a dominant defensive day, and I know Seattle's defense has looked amazing.
Yes. I
still don't know where I'm at on them. Like I don't know if I think they're elite or they just really cash in on playing bad quarterbacks and not great teams.
Playing Max Brosmer helps, for sure.
Playing the Titans a couple weeks ago, it helps.
Right.
That being said, I think that's why the Bears probably should get a little more consideration. I don't know how real this is. They're doing a lot of one-score stuff, and they're winning games that everybody's kind of writing them off on. But I don't know how many defenses in the NFC I look at terrified and say, well, they can't do it against this team.
Right.
Green Bay.
That's totally fair.
Is such a week-to-week team. I have no idea which Green Bay team's going to show up. I think their defense is pretty good. Philly, their defense is good until I watch the Bears just absolutely carve them up, and we know they don't have any offense.
Well, and speaking of that Green Bay defense, Chicago has not played them yet. They played twice in the final, 5 weeks of the regular season, so they haven't even faced each other yet, and I'll be curious to see how that game goes for them. I go back to the NFC playoff picture, and if they end up with the number 1 seed, this might change a little bit because they'll get a bye in who they play. But I outside of Tampa right now, just because they're banged to hell, and I don't really know what to make of the Bucs, although they did win. If Seattle's going to Chicago, I think I'm taking Seattle in that game. If the Rams are going to Chicago in a playoff game, I think I'm going to pick the Rams in that game.
So Seattle going to Chicago.
I like Seattle better on the road than I like them at home.
I mean, I understand why you'd feel that way, but yeah. And we can get to Seattle today too, because man, I know that score looks great. Brosmer was in hell through 4 picks, but
so was Sam Darnold for about a quarter and a half.
That's kind of my thing is Darnold him and Daniel Jones have kind of pumpkined a little bit, just a little bit,
a little bit of a pumpkin,
not as MVP-ish.
A little bit of a pumpkin. It gets back to my other point though of like in the playoffs I feel like you need a guy that's going to have the drives, make the throws, the quarterback that you trust in those moments.
And you trust Darnold more than you trust Caleb.
I do right now. And it might end up being fool's gold because Darnold certainly hasn't played well he threw 4 picks against the Rams. He didn't look great for about a quarter and a half against his former team yesterday.
Yeah.
It was a bit of a pucker there until Brosmer threw that pick 6, but there's a little more trust with some of these guys. But I will say this. I hope the Bears keep proving me wrong because it's fun for the NFL.
It's great.
Chicago's been irrelevant basically my entire life outside of sexy Rex Grossman making a Super Bowl. Jay Cutler smoking some cigs. Like, they've done literally nothing for the last 40 years.
But you hear about 85 every day.
But you hear about 85, and it's a passionate city, and it's just a playoff game in Chicago. That would be so fun. So I'm rooting for them to prove me wrong week in and week out.
I got more from the NFL slate that goes all the way back to Thanksgiving and then obviously wrap it up last night. I know we have a Monday night game, but we have a lot more to get into with the NFL, so we'll get to it next. But first, Swag with a sports update.
Now, from the George McCoy and Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
First on the Fan, the Oregon Ducks' 26-14 win at Washington moved them up 1 spot to 4th in the latest AP Top 25 college football poll. But Dan Lanning's team will have to wait until December 7th to find out where they will end up in the playoff committee rankings. Likely to host a first-round playoff game, still an outside chance to earn a first-round bye. Meanwhile, Oregon State found their next head football coach over the holiday weekend, announcing Jamarcus Shepard from Alabama will take the reins. An introductory press conference scheduled for Tuesday in Corvallis. Lane Kiffin finally made a decision. He'll take the LSU head coaching job, leaving the Ole Miss team before their run in the college football playoff begins. Kiffin will be formally introduced in Baton Rouge today. Trailblazers can't contain the Thunder down the stretch Sunday afternoon despite a triple-double from Denny Avdia. OKC outscoring them by 10 in the fourth quarter. 123-115 Thunder, extending their winning streak to 12 games. Blazers now start a 5-game road trip in Toronto tomorrow. Monday Night Football in Foxborough. The Patriots need a win over the Giants to remain the number 1 seed in the AFC playoff chase. 5:15 kick on ESPN. New England's 7.5-point favorites. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. Jason Swigard from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work, insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at WarrenAllen.com.
The home of
All right, poll question is up. Welcome back in. Good morning. Dirt and Sprague back here on the airwaves of Portland, Oregon, USA on 105.1 The Fan. Bill Ram's going to join us at 8:15 today. OregonLive.com, lead columnist.
Yeah.
That's the daily ticker. We'll touch all things local with Bill Ram.
You want to ram it?
We want to ram it.
Okay.
We're going to ram it at 8:15. A couple questions are up. We posted one yesterday. How far will the Ducks go in the college football playoffs? Won't win a game. Win one, then lose. Win two, lose in semis, or make it to the title game.
Hey!
Right now, leader in Clubhouse is win one, then lose.
Okay.
42.8%, followed by...
Hard to answer knowing, not knowing who the opponents are yet, but I thought that'd be fun to put up.
Win two, lose in the semis is in second place. Another poll question we put up. Beef fans, how do you feel about the hiring of Jamarcus Shepard? Love it, like it, meh, we'll see. Don't like it. Yeah, we're not going vegan.
No vegan.
We're shepherding in our new flock.
It's a new era. Let's shepherd in the new era of Oregon State football.
We are, man. I'm good with whatever. And then who had the worst weekend is the latest poll question we put up. Marty Smith being stuck in Oxford, Mississippi because Lane Kiffin wouldn't make up his mind. Jonathan Smith in year two getting can and paid $30 million. Get the hell out of there. Damon Williams facing the Oregon defense. Oof, tough day for him.
Tough day.
And Max Brosmer, who should not be in the running for this because it's unfair what we did to Max Brosmer.
God, that was hard to watch, was it not? Also kind of entertaining. Seeing somebody fail at that level, your fat ass sits on your couch at home, you just chuckle. What an idiot.
Can we also just say, like, there's an element of being right, whether you're in the media or not in the media, that you do sit on your couch and you go, I could do that job. Max Brosmer was terrible in college. I watched him play, and I'm like, why would he be in the NFL?
He was not very good in college.
Pick six.
One of the funniest picks that I've ever seen thrown.
Hey, defensive lineman yanking your arm down to the ground. Maybe just fall instead of keeping it alive.
You're on the, what was he? He was probably on the 20-yard line or 25-yard line
they
at
were
that
minimum
point.
Getting a field goal.
Yeah.
No, it was fourth down.
Oh, touche.
It was fourth and goal.
down.
They went for it on 4th and goal, which I'd ask, why are you going for it on 4th? I think the game was 3-0 at the time.
Yeah,
like,
it was
just kick
3-0.
the field goal and tie the game.
They got one of the better kickers in football.
Just
Reichard.
kick it, and they're inside the 20-yard. Like, you're down there, and you're not. You think you're getting slung to the ground by Leonard Williams, and you're going to throw the ball sideways 30 yards into the end zone and make some magic happen? Like, buddy, what are you thinking, man?
Let's go to the holiday weekend. What's going on with the Lions? Can I ask that question, or was this about the Packers for you guys?
It was more about the Lions for me. I'm not surprised that the Packers won because this is who the Packers have been all year. The Packers have shown you in some big games, not all, some big games, they can look dominant and they can look like a team that you're going to have a hard time beating. They started the season that way and beating Detroit the way that they did. Now, you and I both gambled on the Lions on Thursday thinking, all right, the game's back in Detroit. Lions have found a little bit of a mojo as of late. There's a redemption angle there. Like, this is going to be a good spot for them. And for Green Bay to go in and win the game the way that they did, I'm not surprised because, again, we've already seen it before. What I was surprised by is Detroit looking the way that Detroit looked at times in that game. And look, we have become big Man Campbell fans on this show. How are you not, right? Dan Campbell has been a great soundbite. His Applebee's commercials are delightful.
Go for two.
Like, I love everything about the guy. There's also, I think, a growing concern about, one, the issue we had coming into the year and how important your coordinators were for you last year.
Yeah.
That at times we poo-pooed, at times we bought into. I wasn't quite sure how to feel about it. Mm-hmm. They got off to the rough start, and it was, you missed your coordinators, and then they rattled off all those wins, and it was like, see, you didn't need your coordinators.
Yep.
And now we're back to saying you needed coordinators. I also think he is a victim of his own aggressive mentality.
It really bit him on the fourth down.
Can anybody explain to me, on 4th and 3, down by 10 with 10:51 to go, when you need
points,
two
dude.
scores to tie the game, why are you going for, and yes, it wasn't a good throw. Yes, Jameson Williams should have probably made a catch. It was a little behind him, but he could have caught it.
He could have caught that.
You should have converted it. But you kick the field goal, you make it a one-score game. Sometimes this analytical argument, we had this in another game this weekend, I can't remember, with the going for two, and it turned into a whole debate. I think maybe the Philly-Chicago game, and everybody had to yell online about, when you go for two, why'd you go for two? Why? Just kick the damn field goal. You're down by 10 points. You need 2 scores. You're going to need to get the ball back and get another score anyways. It's 4th down. Not getting it there, with 10:51 to go in the 4th quarter, it was a deflating moment from that point on.
Yeah, I think there's an element of, like, it's been awesome to be a football fan and watch how aggressive the teams are becoming. Like, I love teams going for it on 4th down. Even when it's like 4th and 8, I'm like, hell yeah. Like, I don't want to watch a punt.
Yeah.
Right? In that instance, I wasn't online, so I don't know. Like, was the 4th down bot say go? Because you're down the 2 scores. So to your point, like, you're going to need it anyway. You had enough time to get a stop and get the ball back to get the second score, and he goes for it. And as you mentioned, the throw a little behind Jameson Williams, and he drops it. But, like, I don't even know if that's an analytical play. And if it is, then I don't know.
My
every
guess would
decision
be,
is analytical.
Sure.
I know what you're going to say. My guess is that it was. I disagree with you. I think this is where the criticism of him as a coach is kind of fair. I love him. I'm not off him. If they don't make the playoffs this year, like, somebody's entitled to have a down year once in a while. Not everybody's going to be great, okay?
Yes, they are.
But what I would say is he is a victim of his own aggression, and I think some of these decisions aren't about analytics, and though he is very favorable in the analytics, which I love that, I think sometimes he is a Dan Lanning. I think he's a bit of the Where's the drop that I pulled? I sent you 2 cuts. Why'd you only put the 1 cut?
Come
I sent you
on.
2 cuts.
Come on, Swigard.
Nut up or shut up.
Yeah.
I think we
think
found it.
Well, he changes the colors. I don't know why, but it's
Time to nut up or shut up.
and I think he does that. I think he lives in his own mind of like, my guys are the team, my guys are the tough guys. I don't think it's always about analytics with him. I think sometimes it's about just straight, no, there's no turds here. Like, I think he lives in that world sometimes, and it bites him, and it bit him on Thursday against the Packers. So I don't even know if that's the analytical play. And somebody's going to tell me they have 4th down, but just go for it.
Sure.
Maybe that's the case. I don't think that was a analytics play. I think sometimes he's just very hyper aggressive, and I'm going to do this because we can do it, even if he can't do it.
I think not all 4th downs are created equal, and sometimes not getting one in that moment in particular, the negative side of not getting it is worse almost than the positive side of getting it. And I know that might be a dumb thing to say because if you get it, you might go on and score a touchdown.
No, but it's deflating when you
right,
don't.
It's just
right?
like you're
It's
down by 10.
God.
It's a 2-score game with 10 minutes to go in the
Yes.
4th quarter. You're on the 21-yard line. So that's what, a 37-yard field goal, give or take,
and
right?
Bates is fine.
He's fine. Like,
Yeah.
he's probably going to make that. You make it a 7-point game. All of a sudden, maybe Green Bay tightens a little bit. But I do think that I don't know this for certain off the top of my head, and I was kind of watching that in the background at Thanksgiving when that happened, and so I didn't hear what they were saying on the broadcast about it.
Mm-hmm.
But I would imagine the analytics said go for it because with the new kickoff rule, I think it's changed so much of this in the NFL that you have the ability. So you kick the field goal, you go down by 7, okay? 1 possession game, that's great. There's a chance if you kick the ball off wrong or don't execute the way that you should, that Green Bay gets the ball at the 35-yard line. And if they get the ball there, you're essentially needing like 20 yards to kick a field goal, and then you're right back to where you were down by 10. And so I do think the analytics would tell them to go in that moment. I don't know that for certain. But I just
find it.
To me, it was more about just the time and understanding where you're at in the game, and you're kind of chasing points, and you've been trailing a long time of just like, let's keep this game in close. Let's keep it within contact or within contact. And so that to me was a interesting choice that backfired on him, and they ended up losing the game. And all of a sudden on Thursday night, man, Detroit not making the playoffs would be a shocker for so many people based on how good they've been the last couple of years and them slipping out. There's always teams that slip out of the playoffs, and they're on the brink of being one of them in the NFC.
So that was when they were down 10, correct, Amundo?
31-21.
4th and 3, 4th quarter, 10:55.
10:55 to go.
Recommendation on the 4th down. Ben Baldwin has a 4th down bot that plays the analytics of football. And so on every pivotal possession like that or decision, it tells you what did the analytics say. Recommendation, strong, go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's
2.8 win probability increase if you get that there.
I think it's, again, because of the new kickoff rule, and they're just not needing much. These kickers are so good now that you don't need a lot to get into field goal range. So I understand I'm making both arguments right now, but I'm just trying to tell you, I do think the analytics were in favor of that
But
call.
this is the part of the analytics that's interesting to me, and I'm not somebody that's Mr. Analytics. I don't know everything about the analytics. I try to follow smart people who do to explain it to me.
Yeah.
Win percentage goes, if you go for it, 18%. If you kick the field goal, 15%. So 3% difference there.
Not a huge swing.
Success percentage, 52% go for it, 91 field goal attempt.
Yeah.
That's where you have to kind of weigh like, yeah, maybe it says go, but we kick a field goal, higher success rate to achieve field goal, only down 1 score. And I hear what you're saying about the kickoff. No doubt it's playing a factor, but also to our earlier conversation, how about have a defense that can get a stop once in a while, not give up 10 yards?
That was the bigger
20.
concern because Green Bay's been good defensively. We know that. Their offense has also been incredibly clunky in games. And Love came out, what do you have, 4 tuds in that game? Like,
he wasn't even that amazing. He just had 4 touchdowns.
A lot of touchdowns there. Very impressive win by Green Bay, but we've seen them do that before. The bigger storyline is, what's going on, man? That would suck. Detroit having the run that they've had the last couple of years has been a lot of fun. We've all been rooting for them, I think, from afar. If your team's not involved, like, man, that'd be great for their city to get there. They might miss the damn playoffs if they don't beat Dallas on Thursday.
We'll squeeze a little more out of the NFL, too. We'll dive into college. Oregon wins in Seattle. Oregon State has hired a new coach. We'll get to that. And the Lane Kiffin saga. My God, was anybody else turning on their TV Saturday night saying, just say it, man?
Yeah.
Just say it.
So tired of this.
Like, you need to talk to God Saturday night going into Sunday. And we got Lane Kiffin audio as well. And the college football playoff. Oh, if Duke wins the ACC and Bama loses to Georgia in the SEC title game, what's the committee going to do?
This whole thing's gonna get burned down if that happens. I just want people to understand that.
Oh, this is we might
this
need to
whole
root for
thing
it.
will get torn apart
Yes.
and redrawn completely.
I tend to agree with that. More NFL Tube next on the Fan.
.105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
Well, you couldn't count on us to be here on Thursday and Friday last week, but you can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus. Stream your local NFL game live every Sunday all season long, just $30 the first year. Visit ParamountPlus.com/NFL to get started. We're going to dive head first into UW in Oregon, the rivalry weekend that was. We'll get to the college football playoff landscape. What the hell is the committee going to do? Lane Kiffin took forever to make a decision that he knew he was probably going to make on Friday.
Yeah, and then he prayed to Jesus, and Jesus told him to get really petty and backstab everybody involved.
Well, to be fair...
that old Jesus, man. You got to keep an eye out for that guy.
Hold on. Jesus is Jesus. God is God.
That's true.
God told him what to do.
God told him to be spiteful.
And so he spited. Smited? Spited.
Smited and spited. Let's
go
with
what
both.
Is the proper term there? Isn't it I smited you?
Smited
no,
you?
spited.
Spited you.
We sure about that?
I don't think you're
non-religious Swigart.
I know,
don't
non-religious
if he's
Swigart.
Familiar with smiting.
Probably not the avenue to go down there, but either way, God told him to piss off Ole Miss fans who told him exactly how they felt at the airport. And so we'll dive. We got a lot of Lane Kiffin audio. Marty Smith could not leave Oxford. Kirk Herbstreit says, hey, Ole Miss, just let him coach out the year.
Yeah, you cowards. Come on. What could you possibly lose?
What, can he take your players and take them to LSU with him? No way.
It's not like it's a conference rival that's coming to your stadium next year. It's not like any of that's included here.
Yeah, just, what are we doing?
I don't know.
Sometimes I watch television. I'm like, what? That's the take?
Just filling my brain with garbage.
No doubt about it. There's a lot to get to today on the program, so we'll dive into college. We've given you a lot of NFL, and there's not even enough time to get to all the NFL.
No.
I understand the Chiefs and the Eagles fans are both equally pissed. I also think there's a difference between, hey, our Chiefs who have been dominating football for what feels like a decade now.
Has been, yeah.
Are having a little bit of a down year, and they may miss the playoffs. They're 2 games out of the final wild card, not like the 6 seed or the 5 seed. 2 games out of the final spot of the wild card.
And so many of the teams ahead of them have tiebreakers over them, either because of head-to-head wins or conference record and all that.
But it's maybe a year where maybe they miss it and they have to regroup, and Kelsey can finally just go. Okay, just go. Take Taylor out of here. Let's address some issues.
Yeah.
Go be Mr. Swift.
You can't play that much playoff games over. I don't know how many extra games they played.
Oh, God, it's insane.
It's got to be at least a dozen.
It's why my
if
team
not
cannot
more.
stay healthy, I think, and the Chiefs have just somehow escaped this largely, and now it's kind of biting them.
At some
Because they
point,
got
it
Patrick
catches up
Mahomes,
with
yeah.
you.
But it's a different level of anger and vitriol in Philadelphia, who, by the way, won the Super Bowl last year.
Yes.
I just, A.J. Brown's being called out in Philly today. He's a selfish diva, according to Seth Joyner of Sports Radio WIP. But he's also
right.
Jalen Hurts is taking a lot of grief from Eagle fans, and it's a very interesting thing to not say you were right, Dirt, but to see a guy who helped win you the Super Bowl last year.
A year later get killed.
People are calling for Tanner McKee.
I mean, I'm not going that far.
They were.
I know they were. It hasn't been pretty. I think it shows the main concern that I've always had about Jalen Hurts, and that is offensively, if things aren't perfect around them, this is what you're going to get, man. Like, their offensive line has been a little banged up. It's not terrible this year, but their offensive line has been a little bit banged up. So, oh my God, they no longer have the best offensive line in all of football, and that then hurts their ability to run the ball. And when you take that aspect of their offense away, this is what you're left with. And you could look at his numbers just on a box score and say he's got 19 touchdowns and 2 picks on the year. How could that possibly be bad? And if that's your argument, you're telling me that you haven't watched Philadelphia's offense for the last 2 months. This is who they've been week in and week out, even in the majority of their wins. Go back to the game they won at Lambeau. Remember what the final of that game was? 10-7. Like, this is how they're winning. And so the games that their defense isn't perfectly dominant, they're going to find a way to struggle and lose. It wasn't like their defense was terrible. They had given up.
D-line was getting
I know it got gashed.
Line.
I get it,
Yeah.
but also going into the fourth quarter, they had given up 10 points.
Yeah,
And then the offense sputters, and Chicago keeps getting the ball back, and you turn it. All of a sudden, there you go. There's your 24, and they win the game. He is going to struggle if things aren't perfect around him. He's not elite throwing the ball from the pocket, and this is the world that they have to live in right now.
It's fascinating to watch this happen.
It is. He's a winner, though, man. He's a winner. He's been great in big moments, and maybe if they get back, he'll be great in big moments again. But
Friday was a big moment. We cannot just say playoffs or Super Bowls or that was a big moment. And say what you want about the Cowboys, you and I kind of laugh at it, but they're not that far behind now.
No.
And so, like, you went off to this amazing, now you won that division. After, like, week 5, we were like, oh, that's over.
21-point lead in Dallas 2 weeks ago.
And to your point earlier, they might be doing what they did a couple years ago. 10-1 start, falter, barely make the playoffs, get eliminated, be out, be like, yeah, that team wasn't that good.
Yeah, locker room dynamics are just off right now.
Big part of that is A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts. It's clearly a weird relationship.
Yep.
And he's obviously trying to throw him the ball every other play because if he doesn't, the guy's going to pop off.
He's going to be pissed off.
Weird what's happening in Philadelphia.
Who's going to win Monday night? I mean, all my money would be on the Chargers' offensive line is so beat to hell. Like, Philly has to win that game, but that's Monday Night Football. Philly's in L.A.
You would have also said that about the Bear game. They have to win that game.
Yeah.
Caleb wasn't even that good.
No.
255 yards from 2 running backs against Philadelphia.
Yep.
We'll get back into the NFL at some point. Loaded second hour. Oregon goes up to Seattle, and they beat UW again. We'll talk about that to kick off the second hour on 105.1 The Fan.
Now, from the George McCoy and Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
First on The Fan, the Oregon Ducks can do nothing more than sit around and wait for a week and a half for the College Football Playoff Committee to issue their final rankings on December 7th. That's when they'll find out where they end up in the playoff bracket. Their 26-14 win at Washington has them 4th in the newest AP Top 25 poll. They likely will host a first-round playoff game, still an outside chance to earn a first-round bye. Oregon State will formally introduce their next head football coach on Tuesday. It will be Jamarcus Shepard, who is at Alabama for the Crimson Tide. Lane Kiffin finally made his decision at the final hour, taking the LSU head coaching job, and will be forced to leave Ole Miss before they start their run in the college football playoff. Blazers fall to the Thunder, who extend their winning streak to 12 games with a 123-115 win. Despite Denny Avdia's triple-double, Portland on the road for their next 5 starting tomorrow in Toronto. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. Jason Swigard from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work. Insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
Sports Saturday.
All right, welcome back in the second hour. Dirt and Sprague, 105.1 The Fan and the Fan Sports Network, the Odyssey app, 105.1 FM, 1080 AM, and, of course, the YouTube, youtube.com/1051 The Fan. Good morning. Happy Monday, everybody. It is the 1st of December.
Holy catfish!
I know. You better get that Christmas shopping done. I got a busy-ass week, dude.
Got stuff going on all week.
As soon as the show's done, I got like
Yeah.
9 things I got to get done.
Oh, it's the worst.
But it's a lovely time of year. College football is winding down. That's unfortunate, but we're going to get to conference title games.
Yes.
Then we get
will.
to the playoff seeding. Then we wait a month. Then we get the first games and wait another month. Then we play the second game. We wait another month.
By the time we get to April, we will crown a national champion.
Title winner.
On 420 this year. How about that?
Hey, that'd be great. We'll kick off the second hour with this. If you miss any of the other hours, by the way, you can always find it online or wherever you get your podcasts. We did a lot of NFL conversation in the first hour because, well, lots happened in the National Football League since we were last on the air.
Yes.
A lot of college football to get into today. Oregon State's hired a new coach. What? We'll talk with Bill Ram coming up at 8:15 today for the Daily Ticker, the Oregonian columnist. He'll join us at 8:15. If he is listening, there's a backstory why we're calling him Bill Ram, and we will not talk about that unless he brings it up.
He's going to ram it.
And so Bill will ram it. You might know him online as Bill Oram, but here on this program, he is Bill Ram. He'll be on at 8:15, so we'll talk about the Oregon State hire. Lane Kiffin just would not go away out of our lives all weekend long, dragging this out during a rivalry game. Big build-up. You got to announce it after the game. And then it was like, he's going to announce it in 3 days.
Yep. Team meeting tomorrow at 9 a.m. Wait, no, team meeting tomorrow at 10. Wait, no, team meeting tomorrow at 11. Wait, no, team meeting tomorrow at 1.
Got a text. God's text. Hold on.
God, just end this for the love of God.
We got his contract, 7 years, $91 million.
Woo!
We talk about how college football needs private equity, and that's a reason why.
When they fire him in 3 years and they got to pay him $80 million to not work anymore. Because he goes 9-3, 9-3, 9-3, and they turf his ass.
But I want to ask you to start the second hour.
Yes,
Andrew.
ask away, Brandon.
It's Black Friday. Isn't today like Cyber Monday? Like,
I
it's a big
believe it is.
shopping weekend this holiday weekend.
Yes, it is.
Have you purchased your Caucasian Collision Unit t-shirt?
I actually did.
You did?
I saw those and I thought I need to get my hands on
You
one.
bought one.
And thankfully, Duck fans were smart enough. Like, a bunch of accounts had, like, here's the link. I think it's a Dylan Thieneman thing where he made them and you could go, or maybe it's his brother. I can't remember.
I think it's him and Betcher, didn't they?
Him and Betcher wore them. I think they said that his
In the
brother
post-game.
helped him make it. His brother, Dylan's brother, makes T-shirts or something like that. But they there's like a Shopify thing you can go buy them, and I saw that and I thought I'm getting my hands on.
So you
that.
bought one?
I bought a T-shirt. Yeah.
When's it expected to be here?
A couple weeks. It was. I don't think it's a quick shipping. It's not like they're not Amazon.
Sure.
It's not quite Cyber Monday. It might take them a while.
I think they're printing them out probably as the
Yes.
orders come in.
It might take a while.
They don't have a warehouse.
I'm just hoping it's here in time for the playoff game. That's all I'm hoping because I want to be a part of the Caucasian Collision Committee or unit. What was it? Yeah,
the CCU.
The CCU.
Yeah, the Caucasian Collision Unit.
I would love to be an honorary member of the CCU.
So does Dante Moore. Bryce Betcher he's going to get Dante
Yeah, he's
Moore
like, hey,
one.
where's my shirt, man? Why can't I get one of these bad boys?
But that was in the post game, and that was a great soundbite from Thieneman and Betcher as Oregon goes up to Seattle, and they beat the Huskies to 14, dominating most of this game. It was 19-7. And then the Huskies on a third down got a touchdown to Denzel Boston that cut it to 19-14.
I think it was a fourth down. Touchdown. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm misremembering the third down play in my mind. But Boston gets the touchdown. What's funny is right before that drive, I text my buddy, he's a diehard Duck, living with every second of that team. And I go, this game kind of sucks. He goes, speak for yourself. I'm nervous over here.
Well,
and then they score the touchdown. I go, okay, now I got interesting.
Now we got a little something here.
Huskies shouldn't have got that last touchdown drive because on the play that was almost the most spectacular catch of college football.
Maybe in football.
What are
you
we
kidding
doing
me?
Here? What are we doing
How do
here?
you not overturn that McClellan catch?
For
Well,
the coolness factor of it. That
And they
should count.
missed the blatant pass interference as the defender had both hands on his off arm grabbing him, which was why he was forced to try to make a David Tyree catch.
Look at you, sounding like a duck honk over there. The officials are out to get us.
He's calling it like he sees it.
Because I watched.
Because if you catch that ball, you're over midfield. The game's 19-7.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of time left.
They're going to score.
They're going to kick a field goal at least. The game has a very.
The game was
different feel.
not as close as that final.
You know
score.
what's funny?
It was
the
not.
Ducks dominated because I taped it and watched it when I got back home. And
we ruined it for you on the group chat at the very end. I apologize about that, but I didn't want to side text dirt again. Like we have a lot of side texts because you're at a game, not watching a game.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? He's not a guy that cares. If it's ruined, he'll go watch it anyway.
No, I was going to watch that from start to finish no matter what. A lot of the other stuff, a lot of the football, I caught highlights and missed and whatever. But that game I went back and watched, and I knew we were going to be talking about it.
Well, it's just I have two people in my lives. I have a lot of people in my personal, like, day-to-day lives that are Duck fans. And then on my fantasy team that I'm in with my cousin's a UW guy. That whole fantasy league, I think, is UW guys. And so, like, I watched that game, and my takeaway is that score doesn't indicate the ass whooping that I watched. And their takeaway on the other side is that game's closer than the score indicates. And I'm like, it's funny how we can all watch a game and have two completely
you have a slant
different
on it depending
takeaways.
on your fandom. I totally get that.
I don't have a fandom in that.
I know. No, I'm not saying that you do. I understand why a Husky fan would feel that way. If I were a Husky fan, I'd probably argue that of like, hey, we played pretty bad. It's a one-score game in the fourth quarter. We had a chance to win. I think it's pretty obvious to watch as the game goes. Oregon forced Washington to a 3-and-out. Then they scored on their opening drive, and they led the entire game. Like it was for the majority of the game. It was a 2-score game. It took a almost miracle at the end of the first half, where I don't know how DeMond Williams got rid of that football before he got hit to score that touchdown as kind of time expires. That all of a sudden, all right, now you're a little bit in the game. Oregon comes out, kind of reestablishes a lead. It was a lot of field goals. Credit to Washington's defense; they were outstanding, especially against the run. But As a Duck fan, I understand the feeling of nerves. I get it. Like, I'm not going to sit here and tell you the entire time, especially when it's a one-score game and you got a 3rd and 8 in your own territory right before the Malik Benson touchdown of like, damn, are they going to have thrown in completion here and punt the ball back? Like, that was the only moment of the game that I felt slightly uncomfortable because there just wasn't a lot of fear from Washington's offense. And I think that was the storyline of the game going in, is what kind of performance are you going to get from the quarterback positions? There was not a doubt in any way, shape, or form who the better quarterback was on the field the entire game, settling a debate between the two fan bases that has been going on for months. Dante Moore had the better season, and he had a much better game in the rivalry game. I didn't have that fear that they were going to be able to put together multiple drives. And so even when they did put together a drive, it almost took a break here or there just to get it going. Like, you go back to the drive at the end of the first half that they finally scored the touchdown. DeMond Williams should have thrown a ball. Like, it hit Brandon Finney in the hands. He should have thrown a pick on that drive. He got hit as he threw it. It should have been picked, and I think it was Flowers who came in on the deflection that damn near caught the one that you almost had two guys pick the ball off. To Swag's point, you have a penalty here. Like, there was a pass interference penalty on Oregon that extended that drive. So it felt like it took a monumental effort for Washington to mount a scoring drive, whereas Oregon, outside of, Dante missing a throw early and then the one corner blitz that he didn't see coming on a 3rd down that derailed it, outside of that, they moved the ball essentially every time that they touched it the entire game.
Yeah, I think if anything, like UW's defense, we talked about this a little bit on Wednesday and Tuesday last week, of like, I do think UW's defense is a little underrated.
For sure it is.
And especially when they play at home, Like, I thought their defense played pretty well. They gave up a couple big plays. Obviously, the Benson 64-yard touchdown catch was the deciding factor and everything, but
that was the backbreaker.
They gave up some big plays once in a while, but for the most part, like holding Oregon to either punt or field goals, you got to feel great about that.
Yeah, they gave their offense a chance to keep them in the game.
And to your point on Oregon's defense, that was the deciding matchup. It was Oregon's defense against UW's offense. They held UW to 15 of 30 passing for 129 yards. By the way, over the last 6 games, opponents of Oregon have a 46.2% completion percentage.
Pretty good.
Over the last 6 games.
Pretty good.
So they're dominating right now in pass coverage. They're getting pressure. They're doing everything you need to. And so I look at that game and I say, yeah, it is a one-score game. It's 19-14. I hear what you're saying. Like, it's 3rd and 8.
That was the only moment in the game that I was like, oh, if they don't pick this, like that was all of a sudden it kind of dawned on me, like if they don't pick this up, this could get interesting. And then they threw a 70-yard touchdown pass.
Totally fair. I think that's fair. If you're a Husky fan listening to this and you're like, oh, yeah, I totally get why you feel that way. I would just counter, as somebody impartial watching that game, I didn't have a fear that UW was going to have another touchdown drive.
I agree with you.
You know what I mean? Like, at best, they'd get in field goal position.
And then DeMond would throw a pick or Jed would do something stupid.
Like, I didn't have that concern. So even if Oregon doesn't get the Benson touchdown and they win a closer game than the 12 points indicates, I still walk away kind of feeling the same way of like, that was a dominant defensive performance by Oregon against UW's offense.
It's funny because it's kind of been, and it has made a lot of their games entertaining, so I'll give them credit for that because it keeps you on the edge of your seat. This is kind of who Oregon has been all year. They did this to Penn State. There was the same thing that happened in the Iowa game where you watch, and if you just like took the score bug off and you're watching and not really fought, like you would say Oregon's been the better team the entire game. And then you look up and you're like, wait a minute, how's this a 1%? What? And the Penn State game had to go to overtime. The Iowa game, they needed to drive with 1:51 to go, even though they led the entire game.
Yeah.
And then the Washington game, you lead the entire game. And all of a sudden, it's just kind of who they've been all year. They've had a hard time as a young team putting that kill shot on a team.
Consistency offensively.
Like, you just need one more touchdown or one more big play, and then the game is over. Now, eventually, they obviously did it with the long touchdown, and then you get the 4th down stop, and the game is over. But they had ample opportunities in that third quarter to put one touchdown drive together that if they do, then you're like, all right, Washington's not scoring 3 touchdowns here. This game is absolutely over. But that's kind of who Oregon has been all year.
It wasn't as high scoring, but I texted this to you at the end of the first quarter, and I think I ultimately felt this. It felt very Penn State-y to me.
Yeah.
I was watching a team that was better than the other team.
They're moving it, but field goal, or moving it, and then a 3rd down stop.
Score is weird. It doesn't make sense to me because I'm watching one team who is better than the other team, and here we are. It's not that big a gap. Ultimately, they pull away Benson 64-yard touch. Talk about an all-time highlight in that rivalry. Him running between the 2 defenders with that speed.
Pretty damn good, man. Pretty damn good.
Anytime you can make 2 DBs hit each other because you're too fast and you go through that gap. I love those kind of highlights.
Look, there's so much more to get into here on my side for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
A testament to their ability to find, develop, and identify talent. Because Malik Benson did nothing at Alabama, and he did next to nothing at Florida State.
He's a retread, yeah.
You go find the tweet that announced his commitment in the transfer portal to Oregon and scroll down in the responses from the fan bases that had watched him play the last 2 years, and it was laughing at Oregon for taking the guy. Even myself, I said, that Malik Benson, who, what? That's who you're... He has been a savior for them the last couple of weeks.
Since Moore has gone out with that injury, who, by the way, didn't play again.
Did not play again.
And I've been wondering this because it's a non-contact, but I've been told no big deal. And then every week happens and he doesn't play. And I'm like, maybe this is a bigger deal and they're not telling us.
You got 3 weeks now to find out.
Exactly. Benson has stepped up in a big way, to your point. We have a lot more on this game between Oregon and Washington as Oregon wins 26-14. We roll on the second hour on that game next on 105.1 The Fan. All right, welcome back in. During Sprague here, 105.1 The Fan. Talking the Oregon-Washington game, 26-14. I didn't see what the over-under number was. I don't follow college numbers as close because I can't bet them.
I remember what it was, yeah.
But we both had kind of said probably a little more low scoring, and that's kind of what it was.
The game went exactly how I thought it would.
Same.
Not a lot of thoughts on the show last week because we only had 3 of them, so there wasn't a ton of time. But I think you and I were both in agreement. It's going to be lower scoring than people think, and it a little bit more defensively. Washington had been good defensively all year. You look even the Ohio State game. The final of that game was 24-6. It was very similar. They just had one more touchdown late in this game, or the one at the end of the half.
It was 6-0 at half, right?
6-0 at the half, or 6-3 at the half. I can't remember, but it was kind of like that's who Washington's been all year. They've been in these kind of ugly games, and their offense, when they play elite defenses, disappears. Mainly their passing game. And Damon Williams had a really rough day.
He did. He was 15-30 again for 129.
It's his lowest completion percentage of the year. It's the only time all year he's been below 60%, and it's his lowest. They played a game against Wisconsin and scored 10 points and lost in the snow. He had more passing yards against Wisconsin in that game than he had against Oregon on Saturday.
Yeah, the story for UW was Adam Muhammad. He was awesome in that game.
Yeah.
He was kind of their only offense for the most part. He had 105 yards on the ground and a 7.5 yard average. Oregon's rush was not as potent as it has been in weeks past, but they still broke the 100-yard barrier. Now, that is including the sack stuff, but
Washington was outstanding against the run, man. They
were
phenomenal.
They geared up for it.
They loaded the box and said, we will dare you to beat us with anybody other than running the football and Kenyon Sadiq, because there were a lot of pass plays where Kenyon Sadiq was bracketed and double covered. They left McClellan one-on-one a million times. They left Benson one-on-one from time to time, and Oregon hit a lot of deep. McClellan and Benson had phenomenal games, and that was a catch against his helmet.
What I find interesting, because Oregon's not going to play now for, what'd you say, 3 weeks, right?
Either the 19th or the 20th will be the first round of the playoff game.
So it's going to be a little bit of a layoff, which I bet Dan Lanning and company are ecstatic about. This is what I wonder. Oregon's defense is clearly an elite unit. Their offense has moments of looking elite. They also have moments of looking clunky and inconsistent. Mm-hmm. And so now you have to deal with the report out that both your coordinators are going to become head coaches.
They might, yeah.
There's a report now. We said this Wednesday. I thought it was a done deal that Golish was going to Arkansas because 8 Arkansas's accounts were like, he's taking the job. And then I was stunned to learn on Sunday or Saturday night, it said Alex Golish named Auburn coach. I'm like, what?
What happened there?
So nothing is until we see it concrete from a Nakos, a Thamel, a McMurphy, whoever, I don't know. But the report out is that Lepoy is going to Cal and Stein is going to take Kentucky because Kentucky fired Stoops.
Yes, they did.
Now, it's not that you can't have coordinators take jobs and still be great and go still win the whole enchilada, but you have to kind of wonder a little bit about now they're trying to prepare for taking their next gig, but my only concern on the Oregon front would be the consistency of the offense. Can you put it together consistently in a game? Washington played well defensively to their credit, but if you're playing a top-level opponent that you're going to probably face in the playoffs, does that offensive performance railroad you out of winning a playoff game? I know the defense can live up to its part. Is the offense going to be more consistent?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a big question about them. I'm incredibly confident because their ability to win games in different ways. And they've won games against Iowa where it's raining and you can't throw the football and we're going to have to run it over and over and over again, and they ran it for 250 yards on the road. And then you play a team like Washington, who's been good defensively this year. They load the box. There were a lot of plays. Like I understand that fans wanted them to run the ball more because you thought the matchup advantage coming in was Oregon's ability to run the football. But you're not just going to mindlessly run it into a 10-man box. That doesn't make a lot of sense. The matchup advantages for Oregon in those situations is one-on-one on the outside. And that to me was, I almost felt like the final score for Oregon was a little misleading on how their offense played. Dante missed the throw on the third down early. He had De'Aaron Hill going across the middle, and he threw it a little bit behind him, a little late. For whatever reason, he missed that throw. He had the moment where he didn't see the corner coming and got the sack, and he was lucky to hold on to that football. Outside of that, man, on the opening drive of the game, he hit Malik Benson in the hands inside the 5-yard line.
Oh,
and if he catches that, you score a touchdown on your opening drive. There was a play where they had to kick a field goal in the second half on a 2nd and 17 that he hit Kenyon Sadiq along the sidelines in the hands, and he didn't catch it. So it's like they were that if he makes the throw to De'Aaron Hill and those 2 balls are caught, I think you score 35 points in this game.
Sure.
And you're not saying anything concerning about the offense. I think the biggest thing for them come playoff time, now maybe not in the first round, depending on how the brackets and the matchups shake out, I think you can beat whoever the hell you're going to play in the first. If you're the 5 or 6 seed, I think you're winning that game. And
if you're
no
the
matter
5
who's
seed,
available,
you're cleaning house in
right?
that first game.
But if you're not, let's say you slip to 7 or looking forward in the playoffs, then yeah, I think it's a big part of it will be getting healthy at the wide receiver position and having guys that teams feel like they have to game plan against. But I'm not that concerned about them offensively right now. I don't know if they're good enough to win a national title, if that's the barometer you're asking them to reach.
That's kind of what I'm asking.
I don't know if they're – I have no idea.
Because you posted a poll question of how far they go. And all this is opponent-driven, right?
Sure.
We don't know.
Are they the 7 seed playing Alabama in round 1, or are they the 5 seed playing North Texas in round 1?
Right.
Or the 6 seed playing Virginia in round 1, right? Like, it's going to change things a lot. But I thought the game was summed up in this way. Oregon came in, and I think the last 2 weeks their defensive game plan has been very solid of, we want to take something away from you. We will allow you to do something, but we want to take something away from you. Against USC, it was their ability to run the football. And they said, you know what? You're going to hit your shots downfield. You got great wide receivers. You got a good quarterback. Even if we play a dime the entire game, you're going to hit your shots down the field. You know what we're not going to let you do? We're not going to let you be balanced and run the ball. And they completely shut down USC's ability to run the ball. When they hit big plays, they scored. When they didn't, it was a turnover or a 3 and out. Oregon won the game by 15. This week, if you go back and watch the number of times Oregon had like 4 guys in the box and just said, we're going to, we dare you to run the ball on every play. We know Jed Fish's identity. We know what he's going to eventually try and do. He's got this quarterback that he's trying to turn into a program-defining player, and he can't help himself. And how many times did they run, and then it's 1st and 10, what does Jed Fish do?
Pass.
Let's throw it into a 5 guys in the secondary with Kennedy making an unbelievable interception in the end zone. They did not allow Washington to hit explosive plays in the passing game at all, and that has been a huge part of their offense at times this year. DeMond scrambling around, extending a play, and either him taking off and gaining 30 or 40 yards or hitting somebody down the field. And so I thought it was an example of a defense that said, we feel like we can take something away and then you can't beat us. And what happened? They took it away, and Washington couldn't score that many points. Washington took away Oregon's ability to run the football in this game. They were phenomenal in the front. They loaded the box, and what did Oregon do? They responded by McClellan having a massive game, Benson having a massive game. Jamari Johnson one-on-one had a big catch along the sideline. I thought Dante Moore was outstanding, and that was ultimately the difference. Is Oregon has a changeup that they could go to, and Washington didn't.
I think that's the other part of this is like you talk about Malik Benson and resurrecting a career that has not really gone the way he wanted to, and he's been playing well. I'd throw in the conversation. His numbers don't necessarily bear it out, but McClellan feels like a real dude out there when they don't have a Decory Moore.
It's a redshirt freshman and the number 4 or 5 wide receiver coming into the year on the depth chart.
And to your point of how they win games, they can win games in multiple ways. I heard Schulte and Fish were doing the post game, and I caught a bit of that. And Schulte's like, they finally look like a Big Ten team, and I don't agree with that. And I tell you, I know what he means by it. I totally see why you say it. They're in that conference. They just look like an upper echelon team. Ohio State. Right? How many Big Ten teams are there? There's like 18 of these things.
Yeah.
No, most of those teams are not Big Ten teams. You're talking about top-level college football.
Yeah.
Oh, it's snowing? Cool. A punch in the mouth. We'll win a rock
We'll
fight.
run the ball, yeah.
It's perfect weather. We'll air it out. And
Sling it around.
Yeah, we'll put the ball down the field. Like, they're just one of those teams. The depth they've built up. You talk about defense. What Washington and Bear Alexander have done of clogging the middle. And Tuiotti's had a great year. I feel like Mateo's really come on the last few weeks for them as well. Like, you're hearing his name more and more.
Yeah, how about Nasir Wyatt, the true freshman with a sack early in the game?
I just think what they're doing up front right now, it's absolutely dominant. And I hear everything you're saying offensively. I mean, I guess just more capitalizing on those drives, not having to settle for field goals. But to your point,
it might be the difference between them winning or losing a title game. I'm fascinated to see how the weekend goes and how the playoff begins and where they're bracketed and all of that. I think they're going to win a national title this year? I probably wouldn't bet on it, but I also think every team has a little bit of a flaw, and some teams haven't been tested that much, and so a lot of it will depend on, as we saw last year, where do you end up, who do you play, when do you play them, and it's becoming more of an NFL playoff style like that of, do I have to play them in the divisional round, or do I get to play them in the NFC title game and they're a little banged up when they get there? A lot of it depends on that.
No doubt. I don't know where you're at, and we could talk about this element of it because they beat Washington. They physically beat them up, and they win 26-14.
How many in a row are they going to win? Said it last year. Wasn't a question of if, just how many.
I kind of poked the bear in the fantasy chat, and I said, this is supposed to be Oregon's build year.
Yeah, next year's our year. Good luck next year. Good luck. Your 5'4" quarterback, I'm sure, is going to progress greatly and win in Autzen Stadium. Can't see over the line of scrimmage, man. I mean, I
No,
feel
he
bad.
can't.
As a short, I feel bad.
Yeah, he had to scramble out of that
Look,
pocket every time to make
There's
those
a
throws.
Washington angle of this of like, if I told you 8-4 at the start of the year, you take it. You run with it. You say, that's
100%.
great.
Yeah.
I also felt like their quarterback regressed as the year went on.
I
And
have
he
a-
was a
yeah.
big part of their optimism coming into the year.
Sure.
He looked lost on Saturday. Dude.
I will. One, that's an Oregon problem.
Sure,
Let's be
Oregon's
fair,
got a good
right?
defense. Yeah.
The second thing is 8-4 is still to me a good year. I still think Husky fans should be happy about that, but you need to ask yourself, and I would ask myself if I was a Huskies fan, how much better can we get though
with him at quarterback?
And that's kind of what I would be wondering. But you can't punt on him because he's a sophomore. So
no, you're not moving on. I'm not saying
No.
move on from him, but there are weaknesses there that have been
100%.
showcased against elite defenses specifically.
I can ask you this going into it because we could talk about it on the other side. Like, there's chaos looming in college football with the playoff.
Yes, there is.
I don't think Oregon is in the top 4 running, and I might be wrong on that to you, but I do think the committee, if certain things happen, I think the committee's going to give Oregon something that they should have given them last year. We'll
Something
talk about
they
that.
deserve.
Yeah, we'll talk about that coming up next, but first, Swag with the sports update.
Now, from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
Brought to you by Red Tail Golf Center's holiday sale going on now with up to 50% off all your holiday golfing needs. Red Tail Golf Center, where they guarantee the lowest holiday prices. GolfRedTail.com. First on the Fan, yes, the Ducks' 26-14 win at Washington has moved them up to 4th in the new AP Top 25 college football poll, but Dan Lanning's squad will have to wait till December 7th when they find out where they end up in the college football playoff bracket. They are likely to host a first-round playoff game, still an outside shot to earn a first-round bye. Oregon State found their next head football coach over the holiday weekend, announcing Jamarcus Shepard from Alabama to take the reins. An introductory press conference scheduled for Tuesday in Corvallis. Today in Baton Rouge, LSU will introduce Lane Kiffin as their next head coach. He finally took the job, tried to stay on and coach Ole Miss in the college football playoff, but the Rebels had no part of that. Blazers couldn't contain the Thunder down the stretch Sunday despite a triple-double from Denny Avdia. OKC outscored them by 10 in the fourth quarter for the 123-115 win. Their winning streak goes to 12 games. Blazers start a 5-game road trip in Toronto tomorrow. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. Jason Swigard from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt, missing work. Insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
The home of the a.m.
We haven't gotten to Lane Kiffin yet. And then we haven't talked Oregon State hiring Jamarcus Shepard.
You guys got a new coach, man.
A flock leader.
See, one of the first people to dap him up on the sideline after that announcement was our buddy Josh Pate, Pate State material.
He was getting handsy with receivers pregame.
He was.
He's a physical coach.
You want a coach to be physical.
Also,
get handsy with me.
Our athletic director said you don't need a general manager. It's not important to do it. I'll just do it myself. And then he hired a guy who was like, I'm bringing a general manager.
Yeah.
If you want me to take this job, we are going to have a general manager. So
I've been asked by a lot of people how I feel about the hire, and I'm like, well, I mean, nobody really knows who's going to be successful in these jobs. I like him. He seems like a good candidate. He's youngerish. He's hungry. I think he's going to be a psychopath about getting talent in there.
Yeah.
You're going to a lower conference in general, like should be a quicker turnaround.
North Texas might make the college football playoff this year.
100%.
Like, you were going to have that pathway starting next year.
But I worry, can he win in spite of the administration?
It's a big question.
That is my, if he wins, I'm not going to sit here and gloat and be like, good job, Bart. Like, cool, dude. You hired one of the more obvious guys to hire.
I'm going to give the committee credit.
I had a Husky fan reach out and tell me how pissed he was that he got hired because they wanted him in case
they wanted
Fish
to come
left.
back, in case Fish bolts for Florida.
So
you want to hire him?
It wasn't like he was some off the beaten path name that only Scott Barnes could do.
Yeah.
So I'm rooting for that guy. I want him to win. I just love that he brought a general manager after being told that general managers are important. Yeah, they actually are, man. Follow college football.
Yes,
Maybe
they
a
are.
second.
I mean, I would use the Oregon game as a prime example of that. Their ability to identify. Now, the talent pools are going to be different, right? But to the point I was making, Malik Benson was not oh my God, that's the number one wide receiver in the transfer portal. It was a gamble, and it's paid off. How about Jaden Kennedy, who's been unbelievable? Go look at what Ole Miss fans said when he left Ole Miss last year. Oh, this guy's a walking DPI. He's not going to be any good. He was outstanding. He had the pick in the end zone.
Can we not pick on Ole Miss fans today?
I mean, yeah, it's true. I probably shouldn't. But the point being that you can, finding talent and identifying guys that you feel like it's no different than in the NFL drafting a guy in the 5th round that turns out to be, why weren't they taken in the first 4 rounds? There's a skill and an art to that, and who can identify talent and get the most out of their players, and that's what you need to do as a program.
So I teased this going into the commercial break. Oregon wins at Washington. And right now, going into the next playoff, they sit at 6 from last week's rankings.
Yes, they do.
Now, you had A&M lose. They finally lost their first game this year.
Yeah.
I had to listen to Sarkisian on the broadcast tell me why 3-loss Texas should get it because their resume is great. Okay.
I know.
All right.
I know.
But I'm sure we're going to be there. But now I look
Texas
at this.
is not making the playoff. It's not.
No,
It
no.
literally will not. There's zero chance that happens.
But you know that there's going to be.
Oh, the people will argue for it. Sure, there is
People
zero world that exists that Texas is a playoff team.
I don't look at the standings as they are going to be tomorrow. We'll have to wait and see where A&M falls.
That's the big question.
Yeah, but it kind of is a question, but it's not a question. I don't think Oregon can get into the top 4, and I'm wrong on this.
No.
But I don't think that they can. They're not going to be in the Big Ten title game, and I don't think either Ohio State or Indiana is going to get punished much for losing that game.
No, nor should they.
And Texas is 5. They were ahead of Oregon going in. They're in the Big 12 title game, and if they beat BYU, which I expect them to do,
they're not moving.
They're not going to move. So what I wonder here is Georgia-Bama is interesting because Bama beat Georgia, but Georgia's playing good football right now. Bama losing in the SEC title game, I think, is going to give us our first 3-loss playoff team.
Give me a second.
Because you have to look at it from the committee's
fairly confident
vantage point.
Yes, you do.
Because they're going to want Alabama in, and Bama's 3rd loss is going to be in the SEC title game, so they're going to get out of the playoff because of that. Then Bama's going to come out and say, we're never playing in the title game again.
True. Yeah. For a second, I thought SMU maybe was a 3-loss team last year with the conference title game, but they were not.
No,
they were
Clemson
11-1.
was the 3-loss team
Clemson
in
was
the
the
conference title game.
So Clemson was the first 3-loss playoff team
touche,
because they
you're
made
right.
it
Thank
last
you.
year.
Thank
I
you
thought
for
there
that
was one
correction.
from the ACC, and it was Clemson.
No, I appreciate that. But Bama, I think, is going to make it regardless.
And they should. You shouldn't be punished for having to play an extra game that is a reward.
I tend to agree with that. But I think the committee could be looking at Oregon depending on how certain teams play. And I think there's a real chance here, Dirt, that Oregon could be given the bit of a sorry this was so wrong last year.
Oopsies.
Here's your 5 seed against a 12 seed Patsy that you'll smoke at home.
Welcome to Autzen, North Texas.
Yeah.
Good luck in the middle of December.
Right.
Your passing offense, it might be snowing in this game.
Is there a big group of 6 team that would scare you?
No, there's not.
Not any.
Famous
right?
last words, maybe you lose to them, but no, Oregon will be a 20-point favorite over Tulane or North Texas. All these teams, by the way, the North Texas coach is leaving. Tulane's coach is leaving.
Yeah.
James Madison's coach is a candidate, but he hasn't been hired yet, but he's a prime candidate at multiple spots.
Any
Have to wait and
reason
see
Penn
on that.
State hasn't
Penn State's a
anybody?
funky situation right now. I don't know what's going on there. There's people behind the scenes that are saying there's some big grand scheme at play, and other people saying they don't have any clue what the hell they're doing, and it's an absolute mess right now.
I
So
like to believe that, actually, that element.
I tend to lean there, right? And I got some nuggets on that, actually, whenever we get to the coaching carousel. I think the big questions for tomorrow will be, because now is when the rankings start to matter. Like, in the last handful of weeks, whatever, it's not that big of a deal. We yell about it. It's just fun entertainment. Are you ranked ahead of Texas A&M? If you were a committee member, would you rank Oregon ahead of Texas A&M? Their win at Notre Dame is it's better than any win that Oregon has. The overall resume, I would argue, is better for Oregon. Right? Their loss.
You think Oregon's resume is better than A&M's?
I think from top to bottom, it absolutely
Let me
is.
go through this real quick.
What are Texas? Go through like the 3 most impressive. How many times has
It's
Oregon?
Missouri and Notre Dame are their best wins. Everybody
You
else.
know how many? I'm glad you said that.
Okay.
Do you know how many teams with a winning record Missouri has beaten this year?
None.
0.
The answer is 0.
He got an extension,
Missouri does
too.
not have a win over a team with a winning record this year.
Here's a 10-year extension. Dream.
I'm going to
There
say
you go,
that again.
Eli.
Missouri does not have a win over a team with a winning record
I would
this
put
year.
Oregon over Texas A&M.
They also have not trailed by 30 points at halftime in their own stadium to a dog-ass team.
Yo, South Carolina's bad.
Like, that has to be a part of your resume,
I think
right?
that's fair. Your resume for a while was not better, but I think to your point, looking through the whole resume and the way it's shaken out,
In the
I'd
last
say,
month and beating Iowa and
Your
USC and Washington.
justification for being in the playoff can't be one game.
No.
And one game the third week of the season, by the way.
Yeah, and it was a great win. That's a better win than Oregon has on their resume. I'll give them that. But
A&M and Miami holding on to that Notre Dame win for dear life.
yes, they are. And Miami saying, "Wait a minute, I thought head-to-head was all that mattered here." But I don't know the answer to that. I don't know if they're ranked ahead of Texas A&M. They're set. Their life is set in gold. If they're still behind A&M, then it becomes a concern. Because not a concern, but you're not quite in the dream world that you're living in. Because to your point, right now or going into last week, you were 6th. I don't think you're going to jump Texas Tech, but maybe I'm wrong there. If Texas Tech wins the Big 12, they'll be ahead of you.
I think so, yes.
Georgia, win or lose the SEC title game, I think stays ahead of you, and I don't have an issue with that. They're 11-1. That's a hell of a season. You shouldn't be punished for Oregon doesn't get the chance to play an extra game because they lost to Indiana. You shouldn't be punished for losing that game. I'm universal in that opinion. A&M is the big one to circle. If they're ranked behind A&M, I think you're more likely looking at the potential of being the 7 or 8 seed instead of the 5 or 6 seed, because the other scenario I'll throw at you is, what if Alabama beats Georgia again?
I know.
Does Alabama jump Oregon in the rankings?
Yeah, I think they do, because they've won the SEC title and they beat Georgia twice. Which
And
3 times in a row in the last 2 years.
And the Florida State loss is bad, but those are just so.
I know.
There's a lot up in the air right now, but what I will say is,
What do you do with so Oregon just doesn't move then? In that scenario.
they could slide down to 7.
You're not. Why are
No,
you
not for
sliding?
tomorrow. Not for tomorrow. No,
Yeah,
no.
yeah,
That was
yeah.
in the scenario Alabama. Not for tomorrow. The only thing to keep an eye on for Oregon tomorrow is, do they jump up a spot?
Sure.
Do they jump Texas A&M? Is the big. If they do, then you're looking very pretty at a 5 or 6 seed and playing either the group of 5 in round 1 at home or the ACC champ at home. If the ACC champ is Virginia and they get in,
You know who's pissed off is the committee is pissed at Oklahoma. But they're really pissed at Bama because Bama shouldn't have lost that game by the stats.
Oklahoma does not belong in the college football playoffs.
Oklahoma has been the most fraudulent 2-loss team all year. They barely are winning every game they play.
Their offense is terrible.
It's not good. And they're still here. They can't get rid of them.
They can't.
It's done. It's
because
over.
they're 10-2.
In.
They're in.
Oh my God.
They're in. The fun game to start playing, because
let's play the fun game on the
Okay.
other side. We're against it. I want to make sure we get back to the third hour. We got Bill Ram coming up, 8:15 ticker. A lot to talk about locally with him. What is the fun scenario for you? Because I find this all chaotic, and I think it's going to lead to maybe the best thing for the sport. And then we'll get to Lane Kiffin. We'll get to the Oregon State hire. A lot more. Dirt and Sprague, 105.1 The Fan.
It's time for Who's Stinking It Up?
Woo! Do not go in there.
A sports lowlight, ripped from the headlines.
We couldn't do diddly poo.
Brought to you by Three Mountains Home Services. Schedule your appointment online at threemountains.homeservices.com.
Next time that situation comes up is don't put the ball in harm's way and just take what they give you. And in that moment, it was take the sack and don't risk the ball.
I'm out on Kevin O'Connell. What he did to Max Brosmer yesterday, you should be suspended for that. They put Max Brosmer out there against the Seahawks.
They can't call that torture is what they call that.
He threw a pick six. He had 4 picks, and the Vikings get blanked 26-0 to the Seahawks.
Yeah, I don't know why we didn't gamble the under on that game, too. That was a pretty safe bet. You knew Seattle wasn't going to light up that defense with their familiarity with Darnold, and you knew Minnesota was not going to score in that. Brosmer's terrible. Their quarterback situation is awful, and Darnold, even though he wasn't great, gets the last laugh.
Who's stinking it up? Max Brosmer. Poor Max Brosmer against the Seattle Seahawks. Brought to you by our great friends at Three Mountains Home Services. They're a great local company. If you have any issues in your home, give Three Mountains Home Services a call, or you can reach them online at threemountainshomservices.com. That's threemountainshomservices.com. They make home services delightful.
AM.
All right, welcome back in. We have a lot to get to in the third hour. Should Ole Miss have let Lane Kiffin coach out the rest of the season? You laugh about that. Somebody's paid millions of dollars to be on National College Game Day and said, yeah, you should. Stop being butthurt. Get over it.
It couldn't possibly be somebody who's tied in with a television contract with the SEC, right? And one of the teams that's in the college football playoff from the SEC is Ole Miss, right? That couldn't be the case.
See, I wouldn't even argue the TV contract conspiracy. I'd go a little closer to home on that. You know who shares the same agent? Jimmy Sexton clients.
Are we ready for the world that they leave Ole Miss out of the playoff? Because I think there's a possibility that happens.
It's wrong.
It is wrong.
No,
I'm not saying it's right.
Fundamentally, it's not.
I'm not
They
disagreeing
named the
with
coach.
you.
Pete Golding's the coach. The players swear by him.
He is.
By the way, kudos to him. I don't know if Pete Golding's good at all. I didn't even know his name, really, to be honest with you. But
No, and their defense is not the reason they're winning games. Their defense has been pretty ass all year.
But the players are liking him. And, dude, this process sucks to go through. So just
horrible.
Keep a guy and maybe he'll be good next year. Who knows? I have no clue.
TBD.
So we'll get to Lane Kiffin stuff. We'll talk Oregon State. They named their new head coach after we signed off on Wednesday. Not Brent Vegan.
No.
Though I did have like a 20-minute panic attack of, did an FCS coach choose to say no to us in order to sign an extension?
It appeared that might have happened. But also in negotiations.
But maybe he knew Shepard was going, so
Right.
he got an extension out of the
How much
deal.
of it is leveraged by the coaches in their own sport to get more money?
They would tell you that we were going Shepard the whole way.
Yes.
And Vegan will never say anything.
Nope.
So we'll
You
never
know.
really know that.
You never know the answer to that.
But the college football playoff, so you said the wild scenarios. There's a lot of scenarios looming here with the ranking coming out tomorrow and then conference title games at play.
I want you to contemplate this for a moment. It's a 12-team playoff, right? Start counting the locks as of right now, okay? Ohio State, locked to get in.
Correct.
Indiana, locked to get in.
Yes.
Texas A&M, locked to get in. Texas Tech, I think
Yep.
win or lose conference title game, that's a lock to get in.
Oregon.
Georgia, Oregon, now we're up to 6,
See,
okay?
I think Ole Miss is in.
I agree with you. I'm just saying I wouldn't put they've left Florida State out with a quarterback injury. And this is the
It's a
same.
little different, though, isn't it?
Are we sure? The offense is what carries that team, and they just lost their head coach and their offensive coordinator.
I know.
So are we sure they're
the
all
whole
like,
staff.
he took everybody with them?
Pete Golding's the
Who's calling plays?
Pete Golding's guy.
He's the team coordinator.
I don't know. Some
so-
20-year-old.
Anyways, I agree that they should be, and I'm just saying
Let
I wouldn't
Chambliss
put
just
anything
call
past them.
plays.
He just call them on the field. If Ole Miss is in, that's 7, okay?
And Oklahoma.
In Oklahoma, that makes 8.
Yeah.
That's not counting the Group of 6 champ.
Boom. 9.
Now we're to 9. That leaves 3 potential spots left. That's not even counting the ACC champ, which is likely, and if it's Virginia, if Duke wins, they're out. But let's just say in this scenario, Virginia wins that, okay?
Okay.
Virginia wins the ACC. That's 10 teams.
That's a fair assumption, by the way, that you're counting an ACC team as the winner already.
Absolutely. And I know. But even if they don't, guess what? The other spot will go to another Group of 6 team. It will be the American champ and James Madison. So that's still either way 10 teams. You know what that leaves you? That leaves you 2 at-large spots. You know who I have not mentioned yet?
Did you not count Bama?
I didn't count Bama.
See, I think Bama's a
Okay,
lock.
then fine. There's 11.
Yeah.
Now there's 1 spot left. Who does it go to?
Notre Dame.
Over Miami? Over Vanderbilt? Over BYU? What if BYU wins the Big 12 title
They're out.
game?
They're out.
What if they win the Big 12 title?
Oh.
They're automatically in. You're not bumping Texas Tech out. Then the playoff's done. Miami doesn't make it. Notre Dame
What if
doesn't
they
make
left
it. Vanderbilt
Texas
doesn't.
Tech out?
You going to drop them from 5 to out for losing a bonus game? You can't do it.
Yeah, you
can't do it.
They do whatever they want.
I'm just saying, like, we're going to have – this is the whole point about Texas should be – like, Texas has zero chance of
Texas
making the
is out,
playoff.
yeah.
Because you just look at the way to get there, there's no chance they make it.
There's only one 3-loss scenario team in play, and
It's
I
Alabama.
think they're a lock. And I do. I think Bama's a lock.
And I would argue they should be 10-2 in the SEC. They are technically the number 1 seed in the SEC
Yes.
over Georgia because of the head.
They only have one
head-to-head.
conference loss.
Only 1 conference loss. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a game that they dominated but turned the ball over.
They're
It wasn't
such
like
a
they got
weird
killed.
team, dude. When Bama plays a big, really good team,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't mean any disrespect to the old Iron Bowl here, but when they play a really good team, like I think Georgia's going to get them, but Georgia has a Bama problem.
They do.
They get up and they play exceptionally well, and you go, God, it's humming like it did with Saban.
Looks great.
And then they play these
South Carolina.
Auburn, South
Auburn,
Carolinas,
yeah.
and you're like, why are you in a dogfight? They
They
were
outgained-
17-0 in that game.
Yes, it
Why
was.
was that a tie game?
Game's over. First half's over.
What is Ashton Daniels?
Yeah.
Why is that Daniels kid scored 20 unanswered on you? It made no sense at all. I'm watching. I'm like, why am I watching this game still?
They also went for it on 4th down when they could have kicked a field goal to take the lead, and they decided to not do that. And if they don't get that,
I thought that was
Auburn's then in
such a
field goal
ballsy
range at the end of the
call.
game.
Such a ballsy call.
I love Washington people looking at that from afar like Jerry Falwell in the corner. Oh, I remember when he did that in the Apple Cup. He's not coming home, buddy. Not coming home.
Coming home.
Keep watching from afar, though.
Yeah, it's all crazy.
I'm just saying, like, we're going to debate a lot about
4 pissed off fan
I think there's
bases.
10 to 11 locks right now for the college football playoff. Is my point, and then it might come down to Miami has like Miami Notre Dame head to head. Like
I think Miami's out.
BYU is a one-loss team. They're 11-1. I know.
And fair thing to throw over.
Neither is Notre Dame.
Oh, well, they don't have conference. Their conference title game was last week.
Yeah.
Stanford.
Vanderbilt's 10-2 in the SEC.
Yeah, but you know my stance on Vandy. I know. We kind of disagree on Vandy. They've earned it, but I don't think they're going to get in. They're Vandy. They're not looked at quite as the same as the other SEC teams.
They beat Tennessee this weekend. You know how many wins over a team with a winning record Tennessee has this year?
Are you going to give me the 0? Yeah. Yeah, that was a good win, too, because they responded. They were down, and then they just bludgeoned
It's a
them.
quality win. Tennessee has not beaten a team with a winning record all year.
Something to kind of hold over is, should the ACC have gotten in front of railroading itself by having a Miami in the title game? I think it's a fair conversation to have given the nature of that conference. But let's get to the third hour. Oregon State's made a new hire. We'll talk with Bill Orm, as you know him online, at 8:15 for the ticker. Third hour, Dirt and Sprague, 105.1, The Fan.
Station. Now, from the George McCoy and Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
Brought to you by Red Tail Golf Center's holiday sale going on now with up to 50% off all your holiday golfing needs. Red Tail Golf Center, where they guarantee the lowest holiday prices. GolfRedTail.com. First on The Fan. Oregon Ducks now have to wait till December 7th to find out where they will end up in the playoff committee's final rankings. Likely will be hosting a first-round playoff game, still an outside chance to earn a first-round bye. Meanwhile, Oregon State has an introductory press conference scheduled for Tuesday in Corvallis, where Jamarcus Shepard will be introduced as the next head coach coming over from Alabama. Trailblazers just couldn't contain the Thunder down the stretch Sunday. Despite the triple-double from Denny Avdia, OKC outscored them by 10 in the fourth quarter for a 123-115 win. They extend their winning streak to 12 games, and the Blazers are off on a 5-game road trip starting tomorrow in Toronto. Monday Night Football is in Foxborough. The Patriots need a win over the Giants to retain the number 1 seed in the AFC playoff chase. 5:15 kick on ESPN. New England's 7.5-point favorites. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. Jason Swigard from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work. Insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
The Fan is live.
Hey, welcome back in. Hour number 3. Happy Monday, everybody. We're back after our Turkey Day hangover.
Deep down, I'm fat.
Did you guys eat a lot of good food? Did you get stuffed? You stuff your bellies?
I did.
Ate a lot of good food. I did not overdo it.
Didn't overdo it this year?
I overdid it with the sweets. I tell you this, I haven't had a checkup in just over a year, so I usually get a checkup once a year, make sure everything's still good.
Everything's ticking right.
I partook a little bit, and I tried almost every sweet possible, and I sat down. We were at my nephew's birthday because it was the same day, and I was sitting on the couch, and my left arm was kind of hurting.
You get a little, like a tingle, a little
And I'm
pain
like,
there.
Isn't this literally the sign of a heart attack?
This is not good. I just had 37 pieces of pumpkin pie. It's going to end well for me.
But
man.
I also hadn't had any sugar for like a week and a half prior to that.
Calm down,
You
Mel
can't
Kiper.
shock your system.
You got to do it
No,
every day.
no.
You got to build up. When you're running a marathon, do you just not run for a month and then go run?
Well, here's
you got to
my-
be loosey goosey going in. You got to
I
grease
had
your
one
tubes.
piece of pecan pie. That was it.
You only had one piece of pie?
I still have a few pieces in the fridge.
I didn't have
that
any
everybody
dessert.
Sent home
At
with
all?
me.
No, not a single bite.
Dude, we had a big problem. So my nephew's birthday that I mentioned, we all show up, right? But we don't like talk about who's bringing what item specifically.
Oh, there's
no
no
coordination.
assignments handed out prior.
Right. So my sister-in-law makes a stellar Thanksgiving traditional meal, right? Her mac is amazing,
There you
the
go.
ham, all of it's good, right? I made a Biscoff cheesecake, a no-bake one. So it's a little more cream cheesy than like a normal cheesecake, right? Well, she has apple pie. And then my cousin brings a birthday, like a very fancy birthday cake.
Dude, what?
Yeah. And then
Did
my
they think
wife
dirt was coming?
yeah.
No.
Somebody's got to include the cake in there for us cake people.
Then my wife brings a key lime.
Oh.
So she made a key lime. I made
That's
a
a
Biscoff
lot. That is
cheesecake.
How did you and your wife not coordinate?
Well, she makes a killer key lime pie.
Okay, but yeah.
And I just wanted to try this Biscoff cheesecake. And then, I get there, and I'm like, nobody's going to eat this.
So how much cheesecake is still at your house?
A lot.
42% of it. I've had
Yeah.
to eat a slice every day, and I've been trying to be really healthy. I've been exercising a lot. I've been eating great. And then I'm like, well, I got to eat my slice of cheesecake today.
Gotta have my cheesecake.
I'm done.
gonna
I
go
think
bad
I'm
in the
throwing the
fridge.
rest away.
Yeah, I get to that point with leftovers of any way of Thanksgiving for me of like, I give it 2 days and then I'm kind of tired of the food and it's like, this is just taking up space in the fridge now.
The food
I don't want
wise-
to eat another food, a bowl of turkey.
Totally get it. We have one more thing of leftover turkey. I'm going to eat that for lunch. It's good protein anyway. But my mom came over and she brings 2 boxes of crumble pie.
What are we doing?
Crumble
man?
made little mini
Yeah.
pies and she has 2 boxes of them. I'm just like, I can't do this.
You're clogging arteries left and right over there.
I'm trying to live to 40.
This look like a little weight to you, a little weight. We got a lot to get to in this hour. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Now, Merry Christmas, because it is officially December. So ho, ho, ho to all my hoes out there. We will talk to Bill Ram coming up 15 minutes from now. We haven't even talked about it yet.
Can you introduce him as Bill Ram?
I will. I promise you.
Not like
just
it's
see if
no
he
big
says
deal?
anything, and we'll see what the response is. Bill Oram will join us in 15 minutes. That's an inside joke you're probably not getting. How about these guys? You guys did something.
We
Now,
did.
We're not going to talk about your game because I didn't watch a second of it.
I saw him down 19-0, and I went, yeah, okay.
Evidently, you guys were fighting after the game too, so maybe it is turning into a rivalry.
They're also making Pac-12 champion shirts, and that that's a very specific detail. The first time they played technically didn't count as a conference game. Did you know that?
I did not know that. None of them should count as conference games because you're not in a conference. Can I also add one? Apologize to sidetrack here. Yeah. Do you know why Virginia's in the ACC title game?
Is it because of Washington State?
No,
it's because their loss to NC State was not a conference game.
They played NC State and lost this year, and it didn't count as a conference game.
Wait, how? They've been in that conference for a minute.
I think it was they had to cancel a non-conference game for some reason, and they couldn't. I don't know the full backstory.
So they weren't scheduled to play this year, so they had to schedule it as a non-con?
They lost one of their losses.
Was it they weren't scheduled, or was this scheduled?
No, because it's a non-conference.
We'll have to see something. I don't know the full answer to that, but they played NC State, who is an ACC team. They lost. There is a 5-way tie for second with 5 teams with 2 losses. Virginia's in with 1 conference loss. There should be a 6-way tie for first atop the ACC, but that doesn't count. You just made me think of that, and I forgot to bring that up earlier. So
the 2 teams scheduled a non-conference home game for 2026.
How is that? How do you do that?
But now it's been moved to become an ACC conference game played in Rio de Janeiro?
What? Like, I know that happened in the Big 12 because there were non-conference games that were already on the books.
And then, but they've been in the conference together.
No, I know. That's where it's different. Like, Utah joining and you're playing Baylor, and it's like, well, that was already, so it just kind of counted as a non-conference game. That makes a little more sense. That one was weird. I was reading about that this weekend, and you thought bubbled me there for a moment. No, you guys are in the news because you guys officially hired a head coach. Jonathan Smith, not so fast. He did get fired, but he's not coming back. And we will get to that in a little bit. You have hired Jamarcus Shepard to be your new head coach. He was the wide receiver coach at Alabama. We talked about him throughout the process.
Yep.
For those who are unfamiliar, a quick backdrop of him. He is 42 years old,
42.
I believe. 42 years old. He has spent time at Alabama the last couple of years on Kalen DeBoer's staff. He was on the Kalen DeBoer staff at Washington the year they went to the national title game. He was at Purdue a couple of years as a wide receiver coach. He has spent some time in the Northwest on top of Washington. He was on the Washington State staff for a year in 2016, and he's cut his teeth at lower levels too at Western Kentucky in particular. But a guy who is known for his energy, for his enthusiasm. Everybody loves him who has been around him. It seems like every box possible can be checked other than any sort of head coaching experience. He doesn't have that. But Oregon State rolls the dice on a young, up-and-coming wide receiver coach from Alabama.
And I applaud at least the decision. I know I kind of bagged it earlier, and I understand he's probably not going to ever be a friend of the program. That's okay. I applaud the institution for at least taking the swing. I have said from the very start of this thing, you can tell me Paul Chryst is the most slam dunk guy of this. Look at his record at Wisconsin. He was actually good. Why wasn't he hired for 3 years? Like, that was something that I kept coming back to he might be the right guy. Maybe he's ready to win now. Why is he only an offensive analyst? If somebody is really, really good, I just feel like institutions hire him. That dude did have no job for 3 years, and that kind of was a little bit of a red flag for me.
To your point, there's also other openings, and he has not been given any other openings.
And you can say, well, all the big institutions are going to the big names. Okay, but what about the other ones?
Yeah, what about all the G6 teams that are now looking for head coaches? Are
and
they going to go hire?
Maybe. I don't know, but I just from the beginning I wanted them to take a swing. Vegan would have been a swing. Shepard is certainly a swing. The no head coach experience, whatever, dude. You can say that matters or it doesn't matter. You won't know if you're right until the end of next year and we see how all this plays out.
Yeah.
I love the background. He is clear developer of talent. You mentioned the Washington State stuff. Really good season with receivers that season.
Mm-hmm.
Rondale Moore at Purdue.
Yes.
What he did at Washington. What he's done with Jeremy Bernard and company at Alabama.
Ryan Williams, yeah.
And we have paid on Thursday. This is a very, very well-known, respected dude down in SEC country.
Yes.
Especially within Alabama.
He's beloved by everybody in the Seattle area, too.
They wanted him if Jedd Fisch was going to leave. He's a 42-year-old dude who is excited. He's enthusiastic. He's already built his staff. We already have an OC. We have a general manager. This dude gets me excited about what they can do even in the first year of a new conference. So I don't know if it works, but I really like the hire. I really like the swing for the fences mentality. You're as low as you can get. 1 win, 2 wins, 0 wins. Don't really care. They all suck. So swing away. I love that they did it. I love that they landed him. And now we get to see what he can do down over in Corvallis.
Seems like a win-win for both sides, right? You're the wide receiver coach at Alabama. There's not a lot of head coaching. That's not usually coordinators will be up for those next head coaching jobs. So it's not like there's a bigger opportunity for him to go be a head coach. And if it doesn't work out for him, he could go back to being a wide receiver coach at an SEC school.
Easily, yes.
So it's a great gamble on his part. And I think to your point on the Paul Chryst angle, and I think you could clump some of the coaches in here. Now, I know they're not all the same.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's a floor and ceiling debate. Like, you could make the argument, we don't know how he's going to be as a head coach. Could be great, could
No
be
clue.
terrible, right?
Yeah.
We met Jimmy Lake at Pac-12 Media Day, and we thought, man, this guy's awesome. I totally get why they gave him the job. And 16 months later, he got turfed because he didn't know what the hell he was doing. So you never know how these are going to work out. So there's a lower floor potentially because it's an unknown, but I would argue there's a higher ceiling because there's that unknown. Whereas if you hire Paul Chryst or Brent Vegan or any of those caliber of coaches, not to be disrespectful to them, I feel like I know what the ceiling is. And maybe that's unfair because Chris has been out for a while and Vegan was at a lower level and maybe they elevated.
Chris wasn't even a finalist for this job.
I know. And he said he took himself out of the running, which I don't know if that was even true. I don't know how that all
man.
played out behind the scenes. But for that reason, I love the gamble of like, you kind of got nothing to lose right now. You're at the lowest point you've ever been as a program. You've been left behind. You're going to a new little conference. Like, what the hell, dude? Roll the dice on a guy that you feel like is going to work his ass off week in and week out to get you to where you need to go. And if he leaves in 3 years for a bigger job, thank you for elevating our program. We'll go hire the next head coach.
And that I told a few people this that were reaching out about this, and I was talking to. It's like, basically, how do you feel? And I said, I like the gamble. I like the swing. Seems, everything I just said, I basically said, and I said, the best case scenario. I mean, best case is he just wants to stay at the group of 6 and whatever. Okay.
Playoff appearances, and he loves that life and all that.
And he's a god in Corvallis for a decade plus. Okay, yeah, that's best. But realistic scenario, you said he's a Kentucky guy by his roots. He's grinding his way in the SEC right now. Best case scenario is this thing is righted in 3 years, and he's taking an elevated job at a power conference.
And you say thank you, they'll go hire the next coach.
And that's kind of been my stance. Like, don't be afraid to lose a guy. I hate, you don't hire by fear. I just don't believe that's the right method of madness. I think you need to hire best possible candidate with highest ceiling according to you. And if he fulfills the ceiling and he leaves, all right, cool. Good luck to you. We now have an established program at a group of 6 with a playoff, type aspirations, and you go get the next Jamarcus Shepard. Like, that's what this should be. I don't know if Barnes is the one that's going to make that hire at that point, but to me, that's best case scenario. He elevates it to the point where he's offered a Power 4, and if he stays, hell yeah. And if he leaves, well, program's been elevated. You're in a winnable conference. Thank you very much. Go find the next good candidate.
Became very interesting over the weekend, too, considering your ex was fired, and I want to get to that coming up at the bottom of the hour. Also, a fun fact for you quickly before we go to Bill Ram. Do you know who gave him his start in coaching? Jamarcus Shepard. You know who you have to thank for all of this?
Ooh. Are you going to tell me? It's going to be somebody stupid, isn't it?
Why wouldn't I be the head coach at Oregon? His first job was at Western Kentucky. He was a volunteer on Willie Taggart's staff at Western Kentucky.
Hey.
So Willie Taggart says, go be great. You're welcome.
Taggart gave you Cristobal. Cristobal gave you Lanning.
That's right.
Willie Taggart, thank you.
And he's giving you Jamarcus Shepard. Let's talk to Bill Oram or Bill Ram, the columnist at the Oregonian, about this and Oregon punching their ticket to the CFP. He was in Seattle this week, and he joins us next for the Daily Ticker on 105.1 FM The Fan.
wide world of sports, some stories can slip through the cracks.
Now, before we do this, let's go over the ground rules.
Pelican Brewing presents the Daily Ticker, where Dirt and Sprague hit the big stories you've heard about, and some you haven't.
How'd you do that? I'm not even mad. It's amazing.
The Daily Ticker with Dirt and Sprague is poured by Pelican Brewing's Bad Santa, the Cascadian Dark Ale that brings holiday cheer to your glass. Get on the naughty list with Bad Santa.
That's fantastic.
Daily Ticker, brought to you by our wonderful friends at Pelican Brewing. Warm up with bold flavor and get into the holiday spirit. Enjoy by the fire, or maybe even under the mistletoe. Check out their new and improved Bad Santa.
One of the ladies at the checkout at one of the stores we went to the last couple of days, she was like, "Is that a Pelican sweatshirt?" And I was like, "Yes, it is." And she goes, "I love them." And I go, "They got a new coastal location at Rockaway Beach." And she goes, "That's great. I don't have enough time." And she just looked at me and
took a negative turn.
Stopped talking, and she looked like she was in her 60s.
All of a sudden had a moment where it was like an existential moment of I don't get enough vacation time. Now I'm upset about other things. This took a weird turn all of a sudden.
I didn't know where that was going, so I said, "Have a good day. See you later."
Do we think Bill Ram, our guest, is on the naughty list or the nice list?
I think he dabbles more on the nice list, but I think he does a lot of naughty things behind the scenes.
Bill Orm is our guest, who we're not going to call you Bill Ram now because there was an autocorrect in a text message when Swag told us that you were getting booked on the show, and we then spent an hour texting about how cool of a name Bill Ram would be. So we call you Bill Ram now, you get the inside joke. Columnist at the Oregonian. Bigger story for you this weekend, naughty or nice list. Is it Oregon State hiring a coach or Oregon punching their CFP ticket?
I actually think the bigger story is Oregon State hiring a coach, only because that was one we weren't entirely sure how it was going to go. Say what you want about the Oregon-Washington rivalry and some of the tenser moments in that game. Oregon has been on a pretty obvious path to the CFP for most of this season. So the Ducks took care of business, but the Beavers, I thought, deserve a lot of credit for what appears to be a pretty thorough and reputable kind of search, and emerged with a coach that people are really excited to see hit the ground in Corvallis. So I think the Beavers kind of coming out of the fog of this season with actually some positivity in the form of Jamarcus Shepard is kind of the highlight of the long weekend here locally.
Well, where were you going into the process? Because I was quite clear loudly, like, don't go for a retread. Like, maybe Paul Chris is the right guy for the gig. I wanted them to swing for the fences. When you get a 2-win season, I understand wanting to get back to 6-6 and have some normalcy, but screw that, dude. College football is moving and grooving. Take a swing. You can't be worse than 2-10 because 1-11 is the same thing to me anyway. Where were you at going into the process, and what have you learned about Shepard so far early on?
Well, going into the process, I was totally with you. I thought that this needed to be a situation where the Beavers were catching somebody on the upswing of their career, and that can take different forms. I was a huge proponent of Brent Vegan from Montana State, although I can't disassociate the fact that I am a Montana guy, and Brent Vegan has wreaked havoc on the Big Sky Conference for 5 years, and so getting him out of the Big Sky would have been good for me personally. But that's somebody who came in with a lot of the qualities I was looking for in terms of knowing how to run a program, being a CEO of his program, being a program builder, quarterback whisperer, offensive, kind of genius. But there was a big hole in his game, and that was that he had never worked in this era of college football at the FBS level. He'd been an offensive coordinator at the FBS level, but not in the transfer portal NIL era. And when you're doing that at the FCS, it's just a little bit of a different tier. The money's not as big. The stakes aren't quite as hhigh. And so Jamarcus Shepard comes in, and he's got that. He's been at the highest level of the sport. He's worked with the NIL and rev share. He's been in the transfer portal. And so, but the hole in his game was that he hadn't been a head coach. And so I think that, if you were looking at those as a head-to-head comparison, it's which one are you more comfortable not getting? And, you see a lot of coordinators come in and who are successful in these roles. And I think one thing that the Beavers were smart not to do was to not be entirely scared off by the idea of hiring a coordinator because of what happened with Trent Bray. Trent Bray was not ready to be a head coach because Trent Bray had not done the work to become a head coach. That was not something that he had been planning for years. Dan Lanning was exceptional from day one because he had been, each step of the way, he had been thinking about when I'm a head coach, what am I going to do and how am I going to attack that? And I don't know this directly from Jamarcus Shepard, but I get the sense that he's much more like that. He has worked kind of at the right hand of, Kalen DeBoer for years with sort of the expectation that eventually, when an opportunity comes, he knows how to run his own program. And that's, I think, the kind of coordinator you are looking for. So he comes in with the incredible pedigree of having won, obviously reached the national championship game as the, passing game coordinator at UW. He was, Michael Penix was Michael Penix, but, who was kind of in his ear for those 2 years at Washington? It was Jamarcus Shepard. If you're an Oregon State fan and you remember kind of the heartbreak of that game against the Huskies at Reser Stadium the week before Jonathan Smith leaves for Michigan State, Jamarcus Shepard is there, helping call that game that, absolutely, devastated the Beavers. So I think that, the pedigree, the resume, it's all there for Jamarcus Shepard. And the people I talked to about him, it was clear that he wanted to be in Corvallis. He didn't just want a job. When he was on campus interviewing for this position, he made it very clear that it was a place he was excited to be in, where he wanted to build his career. And I think that that's the thing that Beaver fans, are looking for the most. I mean, this is, obviously a wounded fan base, a wounded, community, and, somebody who wants to build, the Beavers back into the kind of program that they had before the bottom fell out. Somebody who's going to believe in them and believe in the potential at OSU. That's the biggest quality you could possibly be looking for.
No doubt about that. I would argue too, in the short term, having somebody who can kind of rally the troops and get money flowing again. And he seems like he's a great, press conference kind of guy. He's going to definitely win the press conference, good in interviews and all that. That Jonathan Smith got away with it. The dude's super awkward, but he won, and so people kind of look past it. Trent Bray there's not much charismatic nature behind that. If he would have won, people would have looked past it, but I think that helps him in the short term for sure. Bill Orm, our guest, they've done a columnist over at the Oregonian. They've done a great job over there covering this. Ryan Clark has been great, breaking a lot of news about who's flying in, who's flying out, and all that. So phenomenal job by the folks over there. My co-host, who is obviously a diehard Beav and a Beav grad, has the concern of, I like the hire, but is he going to be able to get over the hurdles of working with whoever is in the administration? Because I think to say it's been a disaster behind the scenes the last handful of months would be putting it mildly. Where is Bill Orem on that concern of, hey, you might have made a good hire, but do I trust everything else that's going on behind the scenes?
I think that the search gives me a lot of hope that there is sort of that there are calmer waters behind the scenes. There have been absolutely some issues. The Damnation Blueprint contract ended up being a total disaster. The handling of the coaching situation. I mean, there's a lot there about what is the actual vision at Oregon State. It goes back to, even I would say the spring game, the way they've handled their spring game, something that I have harped on for a couple of years and that they've been really resistant to, where it's just sort of, they want to put their head down and let the work speak for itself. And I do think there needs to be sort of a reimagining of what the identity at Oregon State is and how you bring people into, Beaver Nation. And I think that the fact that they did make such I would even say a swing for the fences hire and such and went and got an innovator and somebody who's clearly going to come in and try to create a new environment. This is not somebody who's part of, the Beaver family. This is not somebody from the Mike Riley, Dennis Erickson coaching tree. This is I think the hire represents a real willingness to do things differently at OSU. I think the fact that Scott Barnes surrounded himself in this coaching search with a bunch of people who have not necessarily had a seat at the table in the past. Say what you will about, a hiring committee and maybe the sort of performative, the fact that a hiring committee could be performative. This committee was in the weeds. I mean, this committee was going through candidates, meeting with candidates, giving Scott Barnes input. I think Mike Riley said this in an interview with Ryan Clark, who you mentioned, that, Jamarcus Shepard was a standout from the very, very beginning in the eyes of the committee as well. And I do want to say this about the coaching search, because you've made a really good point about Paul Chryst. And because Paul Chryst could have maybe succeeded in this job. I don't know necessarily one way or the other, but let's just say that he would have been the right guy to win at Oregon State. He would not have been embraced, or he would not have rallied the troops at OSU until he won. Yeah. And I think that was the sort of game of wait and see that the Beavers could not could not sort of withstand. And, as good as Brent Vegan is, who I obviously was really high on in this process, Jamarcus Shepard is going to have people excited. I mean, he already has people excited. You see the season ticket, email go out from OSU. I think Beaver fans are stoked, envisioning an offense like they've seen from Kalen DeBoer's teams the last few years at OSU. A departure from kind of the way the Beavers have operated. There's real, I think, enthusiasm for what this is going to look like, and that's from day one. Jamarcus Shepard does not need to win 9 games to get people excited. They're excited now. And so Paul Chryst, and maybe even to a lesser extent Brent Vegan, was going to have to win to get that level of buy-in from the fan base. And so I do think that you've got a coach now who sort of represents this new I guess, era of at Oregon State, and I think that's going to trickle up as well as down to the administration and the fan base.
You were in Seattle for the Oregon UW game. Oregon, as Dirt mentioned, is going to punch the ticket to the playoff. They won 11 games, 11-1, third straight 11-win season for Oregon. I'm very curious. I know people can find more thoughts at OregonLive.com, but Dan Lanning, as you mentioned, gets hired, and it's a lot of like, okay, guy from the SEC title game, national championship team, okay, but we didn't really know much about him. We had to wait, and then it started with a clunker against Georgia, and it's seemingly gone nothing but upward since. I'm just curious where you're at on Oregon after getting that win. I thought in convincing fashion in Seattle. Their defense is playing well. Offense just a couple mistakes away from maybe scoring more than 26. Where's Bill Orem at on Oregon as they get ready for another college football playoff run?
I think this team has shown that it can win games in a lot of different ways. Like, I have not been that impressed with the Ducks from the standpoint of like, man, they just pulverize teams. This is not one of those offenses that just, is scoring on every drive. They're grinding out wins. And you can look at that one of two ways. You can look at that either as, well, they're just not good enough and that they're kind of getting lucky and they're getting away with a lot. And there's probably some truth to that. But I do think that the bigger truth is that, this is a team that wins. That it goes into games and it wins the way it does what it needs to do to win. I mean, you look at the way they played at Iowa, the way they ground out the win against admittedly a bad Wisconsin team. Penn State, before Penn State's will and spirit was completely broken. And then Saturday, the Ducks were not moving the ball through the air, and they were not completing drives. They were, very much at risk of handing the ball back to the Huskies in the fourth quarter with a 5-point lead. And at that point, the Dogs had the momentum. I thought, hey, if you give Washington the ball back here, you might be in a situation where you're down 2 or 3 with 4 minutes left. And what happens? Dante Moore steps up and makes a really great read across the middle, and Malik Benson, makes a great play. And I just think that that's what we've seen repeatedly from the Ducks. They are. I think this is a winning team. I don't know what that looks like over the entirety of the playoff. Like, are they good enough to beat Ohio State, Indiana, Georgia, Texas Tech? I think I saw one mock bracket that would have them playing Texas Tech in the quarterfinal. I don't know that Oregon has the ability to hang with an offense like that right now. Like, the offense is going to need to step up to be able to hang in a game like that. But I do think that, the Ducks have shown that they do what it takes to be in every game that they are in. And as long as they are in a game, they find a way to win it. And I would even point to that Indiana game. Obviously, it ends up being a double-digit loss at home. And, the Ducks got pushed around on the lines pretty good in the second half. But where was that game actually lost? They were down 7 in the fourth. Ducks have the ball, and your 19, 20-year-old quarterback throws a bad interception in the fourth quarter. Is that a mistake Dante Moore would make again? I don't know that he would. And so I think that some of what Dan Lanning said post game on Saturday was pretty meaningful, which is, in this system of the playoff, you can afford a stumble. You can have a hiccup, and the Ducks had one, and he believes that they learned a lot of lessons from it. And I think that, I would not count them out in a rematch against Indiana. even though I think Indiana's probably the better team. I would not count them out because I think they find ways to stay in games and then win them in the end.
Yeah, there's definitely an art to finding ways to win games in different ways, and Oregon has done that all year. And again on Saturday, Bill Oram is his name. He's a columnist at The Oregonian. Check him out on Twitter and on Blue Sky. They've done a great job covering the college football season this year. The big news out of Corvallis over the weekend, and we'll do so with Oregon advancing to the college football playoff. Thanks as always for the time. Happy Thanksgiving, Bill. You are on the nice list for us at all times, and we always enjoy chatting with you. Let's do it again soon.
Hey, I look forward to it, and hopefully I can even get both syllables of my name on the run sheet next time.
I mean, Bill Ram's a cool name. You got to acknowledge that, right? Bill Ram would be a badass name.
I'm just worried about what line of work Bill Ram might be in.
He's a porn actor. What do we?
He's got a mustache.
Wondering here. You got a mustache. You're Bill Ram.
His triceps are big.
You want to ram it?
Yeah.
I mean, come on. What do we do? You're a car salesman.
Nothing
Take
wrong
it
with
to the
that.
truck.
Just ram it home, all right?
Yeah.
I'm really happy I brought that up.
Yeah. I mean, that was kind of your fault. You did that. You've been on the show before. You know how it works.
Hey, you go be a bad Santa. We love you, Bill.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
There you go, Bill Oram, the columnist at The Oregonian, the Daily Ticker, as always, brought to you by our wonderful friends at Pelican Brewing Company. And it's time for my favorite beer to be back on the shelves.
Oh.
It is Bad Santa season, ladies and
Really?
gentlemen, brought to you by Pelican Brewing Company. Their Bad Santa Cascadian Dark Ale. Slay your thirst with each sip of the Northwest's favorite seasonal beer now at your local grocers.
There you go.
Let's get to your ex getting fired. Did that make you happy to seeing your ex fail? Does that bring a smile to your face? Also, if you could choose, did they still make the right call? Let's get to that next. First, your Swag with Sports Center.
Now, from the George McCoy and Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
Brought to you by 808 Hawaiian Restaurant. Mixed plates like Grandma used to make if your grandma were from the Big Island. Woodstock, Burnside, Beaverton, or online at ate-oh-ate.com. First on the Fan. Well, the Oregon Ducks will have to wait till December 7th to find out what their next playoff game will be. After a 26-14 win at Washington, not in the Big Ten championship game, likely to host a first-round playoff game, still an outside shot at a first-round bye. Oregon State will introduce their next head football coach, Jamarcus Shepard from Alabama, tomorrow at a press conference in Corvallis. Lane Kiffin finally made his decision, taking the LSU head coaching job, and will lead the Ole Miss Rebels before their run in the college football playoff begins. Kiffin expected to be introduced in Baton Rouge today. Blazers go down to the Thunder 123-115. OKC's winning streak now at 12 games, and the Blazers head out to start a 5-game road trip in Toronto Tuesday night. Monday Night Football's in Foxborough. Patriots trying to keep pace with the Broncos for the number 1 seed in the AFC. 5:15 kick against the Giants on ESPN. New England 7.5-point favorites. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. Jason Swigard from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt missing work. Insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
The home 6:30 a.m.
Well, the petty amongst us does enjoy seeing an ex fall flat on their face.
You enjoy this far more than I do.
Do I? Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
Duke making an ACC title game with the coach that Miami fired to hire Mario Cristobal after going 7-5 because of a five-way tie in the ACC is hilarious. Miami's never played for an ACC title game.
No, I mean the whole thing, that's hilarious.
I enjoy that stuff. Mario not making the playoff again, which it does not appear that he will, would also bring a smile to my face. Jonathan Smith, you can make an argument, yeah. The Dirty Poll will come out this week. Stay tuned for that. We'll have some updated rankings there. What did Jonathan Smith getting fired at Michigan State 2 years in bring to you emotionally? Anything?
I didn't really do anything for me. I think the tough thing of doing this job is you become emotionally separated from stuff. I know you are not like this with Oregon. I think it's different when your program every year is a top 10 team in college football.
Fair.
Oregon State was flirting with that and around that, but that certainly is not where they currently are, and I don't like the administration. That being said, I understood why he left. It doesn't make it right. This was, and I bucked this, so I'm wrong here, but this was weird from the get. Of all the places to leave, you would have maybe thrown UCLA at me.
Talk about the timing of coaching searches. He had chances for other jobs in the immediate aftermath of taking the Michigan State job.
I think it's pretty clear he'd be the UCLA coach and not Deshaun Foster. Now, would he have won there? I don't think so. I think this is what's weird. I don't know how much.
Would Washington had looked at him over Jed Fish?
I mean, maybe, yeah, because he was an OC there.
Let's not act like Jed Fish was winning titles. He won 10-win season.
Know.
Jonathan Smith did a better job at Oregon State than Jed Fish did at Arizona.
Well, certainly that's a fair case to be made, but I think people had forgotten. They hated him at UW at the end.
Yeah.
They did not like him. But, his offense was fine. It wasn't amazing. I don't know how to explain how he truly got that program at Oregon State as high as he did. There was a screenshot of a Husky or Martinez scoring against the Huskies in that rainy game at the end of the year, and they're a top 12 team in the sport.
Yes.
It's the highest that kind of program can be. And to see it fall where it was and see him leave, I think you look back on it, weird fit from the get, obviously the wrong choice. I think part of this was probably a little internal mixed with agent. I'm a damn good football coach. Look where I've got this program.
Yeah, and the agent saying, take the life raft, take the money.
And now we're being relegated. Oh, here comes a Big Ten team with good resources that's looking for a very, nondescript, mature start because Mel Tucker's situation's disgusting. And so here it is. Here's your life raft. Here's a way to stay relevant and be at the top of your game. Again, doesn't make it right. Most people preach loyalty and be loyal. That sport's not loyal. And he took it, and it was a disaster. I mean, an utter disaster, and there's no way around it. He is going to make $30 million to not coach that team anymore. But if those kind of people, if we learn anything about them, they'd much rather be coaching than take the buyouts.
Without a doubt.
And so I don't know where he goes from here. I'm not saying he won't get a job, but it's how do you pivot in your life when this happens to you?
That's the difficulty of it. I got a couple more thoughts on this. Also, is it a dumb question to ask? If there were, whispers in the wind this weekend that maybe calls were being had of hey, you guys interested in doing, you guys want to, it's the college kid back in town for the night before Thanksgiving, hitting up all the old gals.
Reaching back out to the old
one
lover.
of those hey, what do you guys, you in town tonight? A little bit of that happening. Should Oregon State have answered the call, or did they still make the right hire? That was the interesting part of this timing is that Shepard got hired, and then the next day, and I'm sure people knew, Jonathan Smith knew, wasn't a shock that he got fired. They've been a disaster this year. They just won their first conference game this weekend over Maryland, and it was a tight contested
They had to hold on.
game.
24/7.
It was. They had to come back, hold on to your point, after losing, 6 or 7 games in a row. I mean, they had been a dumpster fire. They hadn't won a game since September 13th against Youngstown State before winning this weekend. So him getting fired wasn't a surprise, but, is a rekindling of that love something that you would have been interested in? I want to ask that. And then we'll get into a little bit more because we just didn't get a ton to Jamarcus Shepard. More coaching carousel stuff coming up top of the hour. We haven't even talked about Lane Kiffin yet. There's so much still to get to. Let's stick with Oregon State. One more segment next on The Fan.
AM.
Hey, right now, if you text the word Matt, M-A-T-T, the name, not like a Matt, but Matt, the name, M-A-T-T, to 503-864-6326, you will be entered for a chance to win a pair of tickets to see comedian Matt Rife, who's going to be at the Moda Center on October 10th. And we're going to have tickets throughout the course of the week. Again, text Matt, M-A-T-T, to 503-864-6326. Your chance to be entered for Matt Rife tickets October 10th, 2026. That's a long ways away, but that's how we roll around here at the Moda Center. And again, all the details, 1051thefan.com.
I think I would add, too, because I didn't have time to say it there.
Yes.
Like, I do think he took the raft. I think his agent, I think he's like, I can't be relegated. And that was a bad call by him.
Yes, it was.
The other part I'd say on Jonathan and Michigan State, to me, because I was somebody that thought, might not be a successful week year one. I had them winning 7-8 this year. Couldn't have been more wrong on that. And it's clearly at a point where they're now forced to pay $100 million to pay out Mel Tucker and Jonathan Smith.
Has Aiden Childs become your Ty Thompson?
No. I got off that probably during the Boston College game when they won. I was like, that's not good. But what I would say, and I'd add to it, is he will never admit this. I think even more evidence of this, I don't think he knew what he was getting into.
He had no idea.
I honest to God think he just took the biggest raft he could that was offered and thrown at him.
Yeah, I'm going to maintain my opinion at the time, and I said it when it happened, and I'll say it again. I thought it was a massive mistake on his part. I understand the feeling internally of panic of where is this going to go. But just paint a picture with me for a moment. Okay, if Jonathan Smith stays at Oregon State for another year or doesn't take the Michigan State job,
sure,
two different things can happen. One, two other jobs on the West Coast opened up after that. UCLA and Washington. Now, does he get either job? Does he get one? I don't know.
I think he gets the UCLA job.
I tend to agree with
him,
you.
But I don't know if he takes it.
Tend to agree with you, right? Hometown, West Coast, same footprint that you've always coached in. Like, it makes exponentially more sense than Michigan
up in Pasadena.
State. Right? He has no ties to the recruiting. He has no ties to the high school. He doesn't know what the hell he's getting himself into.
That's a big part of this, too.
It was never a good fit.
There was no identity for him over there.
The other angle that I will give you, and this is what Oregon State fan argued at the time, and I will maintain it, like, if he stays, the structure of the team doesn't completely stay together, but there's still at least some pillars that you can lean. Like,
it's the consistency of
Bray's your D coordinator.
Right?
Aiden Childs followed him. I'd imagine Aiden Childs stays. Now, I know he hasn't been great, but is that different against lesser competition? Like,
right.
If he sticks, Oregon State's schedule last year was nothing.
No.
So if you hang out in 1 year of purgatory and you win 9 games, you think all of a sudden job offers are going to dry up and they won't want to hire you anymore? Like, that was the only point that I made at the time, that I don't blame him for wanting off the raft.
Sure.
It was just the timing of it, of like, you look so desperate. The first team that calls and offers you a job, you jump. And it was never a good fit. It never made any sense. He's not an energetic, charismatic guy. And so going someplace where you're not known, the only thing, this is the whole point we were just talking about with Oregon State hiring Shepherd. Like, the only thing that you can do to win people over is to win and win now. And in that same coaching cycle, Indiana hired Kurt Cignetti, and they're going to their second straight playoff game. And you went 1-8 in conference play this year. It was a disaster, and it was never a good fit.
And I think to add to that, too, like, if you go somewhere where they don't know you, you can win before playing a game. Jamarcus Shepard is going to have his press conference.
He's going to win.
It's like tomorrow. Okay, tomorrow.
He's going to win tomorrow. It's going to be awesome.
He's going to win tomorrow.
He's going to get everybody fired up.
He's going to say Willie Taggart stuff. And you told me during the break, like, I ate that up. Like, yeah, he's going to say the right things.
Every fan base eats it up when it's your coach.
He's going to drop I've been at Bama. We know how to win. And you're going to go, yeah, you've been with DeBoer. You've been winning. So
Rodan Tag!
Right. Rodan Beeve. Like, he's going to say the things. He's going to win tomorrow.
Yep.
I watched Jonathan's introductory press conference, and it was, that guy's not very charismatic. And then, like, that doesn't resonate. And you need a leader. You need somebody that's vocally going to be a leader. Look, the only defense I will give, and I gave this defense to him in a moment, and clearly it was not the right decision. I think having year 2 for him, getting even within 2 years of him leaving, I know everybody that preached loyalty is dancing today and saying, see, told you should have been loyal. You could have a down year, and you were our guy. Like, I get it. Who would have known Dan Lanning is more loyal to Oregon than Jonathan would have been to Oregon State, right?
Circumstances are, I get it. But,
But my point is, I think with even the 2-month cycle of coaching, we already knew it was nuts. I think, Dirt, it's crazier than we knew it was 2 years ago. So I think today, it's fair to say you're right in if you're 8 wins last year, you're probably getting gigs this year thrown at you still. But I think if you rewind even 2 years ago, the conference blew up. I mean, we still don't know where this is going to go. I don't know how all of this is going to get navigated. I haven't dismissed the idea of the Big Ten and SEC separating into their own Super League here. So, I just think so much uncertainty and not having any answers. And then also, can we not overlook the fact that, it wasn't like the leadership there has been
No, that's
stellar.
totally fair. Totally fair.
By the way,
it has not been good behind the scenes.
Oregon State men's basketball lost to Cal Baptist.
Cal Baptist is undefeated.
Hey.
Oh.
You looked out for those baptizers.
What conference are they in?
I think they're in the Big West.
I think.
We don't even know what wow. If you don't know, that's a bad loss.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's the Big West.
I think that was a home game.
It was a home game.
All right.
Totally fair point about the athletic department. Yeah.
The leader, and again, I'm not right here. He is wrong. He took the wrong gig. Shouldn't have jumped off the life raft, and I don't think he was ready for that job. But also, I think if we're being honest, 2 years removed, this thing is crazy. We have a coach that left a playoff team.
And we'll get to that.
You want to talk about no adults in the room. There are no adults in the room.
None at all.
You can blame the NCAA all you want. You're still an adult in the room, and you're choosing to say it's somebody else's fault I have to take this job.
Last thing on this, and then we'll move on in the third hour. Final hour. Yeah, it's whirlwind. I don't know what day it is. I think Scott Barnes knew, so this was a part of the decision-making, but I want you to be Scott Barnes for a moment. Jonathan Smith calls you and says, I'm going to get fired. Can I have my old job back? But you're going to hire Jamarcus Shepard the next day. What do you do?
I hired Jamarcus Shepard.
No thought about bringing him back?
Unfortunately, and we talked about this a long time ago, you kick around the idea if he had gotten fired 4 weeks ago, but even if he was back channeling for that gig, knowing this was a potential breakup, nah.
No.
Hey, thanks, man. Appreciate you reaching out. Good luck to you. We have a candidate.
Yeah. A lot of coaches have left Oregon, and Oregon State have not found greener pastures over the years. A lot of coaches have flamed out at the next stop.
Yeah.
It's been kind of the case.
I don't know. Is Willie Taggart still the running back coach in Baltimore?
He's still in Baltimore. Yeah, so I'm on Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving, Willie.
Derrick Henry.
Why wouldn't you be the coach?
We only gave you 10 carries today.
We got a lot to get to in the final hour of the show. How about Lane Kiffin?
Did he fake having a dog?
He might have. The coaching carousel blew up over the weekend. Let's try and put it all together and explain what the hell happened and how do we make sense of it. Loaded final hour. Don't go anywhere. Dirt and Sprague 105.1 FM, The Fan.
Now, from the George McCoy and Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
Brought to you by Mountaintop Metal Roofing. No maintenance, energy efficient, fire resistant, and a lifetime warranty. Do it once, do it right. Visit mountaintopmetalroofing.com. First on the Fan, the Oregon Ducks 26-14 win in Seattle over the Huskies. Bumped them up to the number 4 spot in the latest AP Top 25 college football poll. Now will Dan Lanning's team get bumped in the newest college football playoff rankings when they come out tomorrow afternoon. Meanwhile, the Ducks got to wait to find out if they will be hosting a first-round playoff game or have an outside chance at a first-round bye. Oregon State finding their next head football coach over the holiday weekend, announcing Jamarcus Shepard from Alabama will take the reins. An introductory press conference scheduled for Tuesday in Corvallis. Blazers unable to control the Thunder down the stretch, getting outscored by 10 in the fourth quarter, losing 123-115 despite a triple-double from Denny Avdia. Portland will head out on the road for their next 5 starting tomorrow in Toronto. Monday Night Football in Foxborough. Patriots need a victory to reclaim the number 1 seed in the AFC playoff chase. 5:15 kick on ESPN. New England 7.5-point favorites over the Giants. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. Jason Swigard from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt missing work. Insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
The home of Ducks.
Hey, let's do this final hour. Dirt and Sprague here, Portland Sports Leader, 105.1 FM, The Fan, 1080 AM, the Odyssey app, live on YouTube. Good morning, everybody. Hope your weekends were great. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving. Some fun news for the YouTube crowd for the rest of the day. Not only has Oregon punched their ticket to the college football playoff, but you could stick around on YouTube today and see Danny Meringue in green and yellow face paint. He is back. His voice has returned.
He's in duck drag today, huh?
He has not painted it yet, but I imagine the painting process will take place over the next hour.
Daisy Duck?
Daisy Duck will be in here with Patrick Harris from 10 to 1 on the firm of Harris and the Duck. That's what we're calling the show now.
Danny Duckman.
Danny Duckman. That's what we call him around here.
Yeah.
Hey, have fun in the Holiday Bowl.
Does he do a quack instead of a monkey sound at the start of his show today?
I hope the puppies have fun in the LA Bowl. You might get to play UNLV in the LA Bowl. That's a fun end of your season.
That'll be right here on
That's still the Jimmy Kimmel Bowl, or is it Gronk now, or is it the Snoop Dogg Bowl?
I'm going to tell you what, nobody cares.
I mean,
have fun in the LA Bowl.
There's a lot of that.
Does Dan Lanning still have a Washington problem? Have we ended that dumb narrative?
Still sub 500.
Now that Michael Penix is gone?
Do I need to get a hold of Softy and ask that?
What's his career record against Washington?
Oh, he's 2-3.
I think it's 3-4.
Let's give it one more year.
Yeah.
And then he'll be 500, and then let's give it one more year after that, and he'll be above 500.
Do you guys agree with me? I had the take driving in this morning. I was a little hazy waking up as early as I did today.
Yeah, it was a hard to get up.
There's a little bit of a adjustment there. Do you guys think this is underrated, the worst profession to be in? Outside of like manual labor, tough, physical, grueling job. It's got to be really difficult to be a teacher because you just had the dirtiest of teases that you had break, and now you're here for what, 2.5 weeks?
No,
2 weeks?
Hard disagree.
3
like
weeks.
being a teacher is definitely difficult, and they should be paid exponentially more money.
For certain.
For surely undercompensated. But they're also about to have a couple of weeks off in December, and then in June.
So are you.
And then June's going to roll around. Are they going to work in July?
Most of them work 2 jobs.
They going to work in August?
Yeah, most of them do.
Not all of them. The ones that do, that's tough.
I know a lot of teachers that work 2 jobs.
The ones that have summers off.
I like that you're just saying all of them
the
take summers
ones
off.
that have summers off.
Yeah. Okay.
Difficult job, and they deserve to make more money.
Some of
You
them
can
teach summer school. Some of them have to take continuing education over the summer.
Look, I love my teachers, but I'm asking a serious question. Who cares less right now, the teacher or the student?
The teacher, for
It's a countdown to Christmas for everybody.
Yeah, everybody just had the week off last week.
Right.
My nieces and that, nobody's in school
And
last
now
week.
it's like, we need you to be serious for 2 more weeks, and then you're off again for Santa holiday.
Put on a couple of movies, you'll be fine, all right?
Let's not act like that last week.
Roll out the dodgeballs for PE. You'll be okay. You'll get through it. I love our
Dirt,
teachers.
your mom's online one?
Yeah, my mom had every summer off. It was great. She took us on adventures, and we did things. She had 3 months off every year.
Well, that was back
delightful.
when,
She's
a
into
teacher salary could.
She's
you
in
could
a
live
good
life.
PERS category. It's a different era of teachers in this state. That's definitely true.
Pop Swag got out right at the
at the right time. And talk about seeing the life raft off the Titanic as Jonathan Smith thought it was at Oregon State. A lot of teachers in the local area did a wonderful job doing that. They definitely deserve to make more money. We love our teachers. We got a lot to get to in the final hour of the show.
Yeah.
Just thank God it's over. I'm going to start there.
Yes.
Thank, for the love of God, it has come to an end.
Yes.
I don't know, and I'm curious how you guys feel, and we'll talk about this. I don't know if I've ever had an athlete or a sports figure that I have gone from loathing to, I kind of like this guy now. He's winning me over. Back to loathing more than I have had in the last 72 hours. Well, I should say the last 2 weeks with Lane Kiffin, because he was the guy who was a Nepo baby hire for the Raiders, and then he leaves Tennessee after a year. He beat my team. Last time USC won at Autzen Stadium, Lane Kiffin was the coach of that team. And then he gets tarmacked, and he's always been, then it kind of turned into a funny punchline of Saban yelling at him, and so you kind of start to warm up to him a little bit, and then he's funny come to the SIP. He's at Mississippi State, or excuse me, at Ole Miss, and you're just like, man, this,
Don't miss exciting times in Florida.
Don't forget
exciting times. Like, he'd slowly
rebuilt his brand.
Rebuilt his brand. There was a documentary about the 80 lives of Lane Kiffin, and look how much
well done, by the way.
It was a brilliant documentary about how much he had learned about being appreciative of where his feet are and not always jumping to the next opportunity.
And
then the next opportunity came, and he jumped, and he
6
did it
years
in
is
the
enough.
ugliest possible way.
Yeah.
Look, there's not a lot of clean ways to do a breakup like this. I will start there.
Yep.
This was handled about as poorly as you could possibly handle the scenario, and Lane Kiffin is now the head coach at LSU.
Well, so you learn a few things through this, right? Like, one, there are no adults running it. And I love that we're constantly, I say this all the time, and it's sometimes taken out of context. I understand it's the second popular sport. Example, 1,897 of how that sport is broken. Something can be broken and still operating at a high level.
Yeah.
Okay? They can be the same thing.
Yes, they can.
How there's no adult in any room anymore and everybody just points the finger at the other adult. This is the NCAA's fault. The schedule, the calendar. Are you the leader of 85 young men?
Yeah.
I mean,
maybe
responsible for anything?
Little responsibility here. You're making $10 million
I mean,
year.
no big deal? No?
Yeah.
Okay, it's somebody else's fault. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nick Saban.
This isn't a player that was making $280,000 and now got a $3 million offer.
It's egregious. These coaches are the highest state employees, and it's never their fault. It's always somebody else's fault unless they're bought out and they're fired. Look, I don't know about you, but by the 9th Marty Smith hit on Saturday night, I, in my living room, turned and said, just shut up.
I don't care.
Make a decision.
I don't care anymore.
I just said that to myself in my living room.
Well, he was waiting for God to get back to him.
Yeah, this was literally me, but Lane Kiffin.
Shut up about the sun. Shut up about the sun.
I mean, just make a decision. It was
Time to nut up or shut up.
Yeah, it was supposed to be Saturday after the Egg Bowl. You win the Egg Bowl, right? It gets a little testy. You blame Mississippi State. All right, you win. All right, now here's his decision. Nope. He's going to ponder it. He's going to talk to God. Not Jesus.
Not Jesus.
He's
God.
talking to Jesus' dad.
You go right to the head man.
Your father, my father, his father. He is the father because he can't talk to his dad no more because his dad's with God.
Kent from Real Genius all of a sudden.
It's just like unbelievable what this guy did. And it's gross. It's disgusting. And shame on Kirk Herbstreit for publicly saying Ole Miss should just let him coach as if he's not going to.
It's one of the worst takes in the history of sports to argue that Ole Miss should allow him to coach. It just is
and
one
they
of the
all,
dumbest
the Deus did it.
One of the dumbest things I've ever heard people who clearly have brains, who know what they're talking about the majority of the time in regard to this sport. Like, this is not...
Why would you let him coach?
John Summerall leaving Tulane, a group of 6 team that might go to the college football playoff and going to Florida, is drastically different than an 11-1 SEC team who is losing their coach to a rival in their conference who they have to play in their own stadium next year. And if you can't see the difference and you think your team should let that guy coach, you don't know what the hell you're talking about.
And I just, his whole, what did they call the Kiffin doc again? The 80 lives?
Many lives of whatever. Kiffin. I can't remember what it was called.
But, how do you watch that and not have a takeaway of, okay, I like him. He trolls. He's fun. He's made Ole Miss sexy, and I want to watch Ole Miss play football again. How? How do you go through that whole process? And I get it. 7 years, $91 million a year, or $91 million total, Sprague. Totally get it. LSU's won a title with every coach sans Brian Kelly. Yeah, totally get it. His team is in a position to win a national championship.
Literally right there.
He's leaving to go to Baton Rouge to be in a position to do what?
Win a national championship.
Okay. All right. So he's leaving an opportunity to win a national championship to go have an opportunity to win a national championship. And you could say, well, the odds increase if he goes to Baton Rouge. Yeah. And if they don't in the next 2 to 3 years, guess who's going to get fired and bought out? And then who hires him? Because at this point, you have zero reason to trust that guy.
Zero.
A group of 6 school? Absolutely. UNLV? Yeah. Lane Kiffin, come be sleazy. We're the perfect city for you. A Power 4 conference team that is serious about trying to win. Why would I ever trust that guy again if the LSU thing doesn't work out? I'm with you 100%, man. I actually gave him a lot of credit for rebuilding at FAU. And
he deserves it.
Going
he fixed
to Ole
his
Miss.
image and he's won, but
this
is why Lane's a headache.
This is handling it the way he did was so disgusting, gross. We haven't even gotten to the audio clips, the airport interview.
Dude.
Talk about uncomfortable. Marty Smith in a hostage situation. We're going to need you to interview ISIS. That's what that was. Like, what are we doing here? It's bad. It's bad for the sport, man. It really is. And now we got a playoff team with no head coach.
No head coach and no offensive staff. The way he handled all this, too, like, there's no easy way to do it. There's no right way to do it. So I will start the statement there. But it feels like for me, now I don't know Lane Kiffin. I didn't talk to Lane Kiffin personally. There is a vibe on this that he has known for a while, that he wants to take the LSU job, at least to me. He was very non-committal after their last Florida game. He had very wishy-washy statements. Like, you could say maybe he was truly undecided. But
I think when his wife got on that jet, they
like,
knew.
And that was 2 weeks ago that happened, right?
Yep.
This all reeks of a guy who tried to run out the clock at the place he was at to the point where they're on the brink of getting included in the college football playoff, and he thought he could have enough pressure to allow him, they would allow him to coach the rest of the season, which they were never going to do. And that's where this stuff gets really frustrating to me. Like, if you want to take another job, if you want to bail on your institution, there is nothing in my competitive DNA that would allow me to do that. If LSU wants me, I would say, you know what, pound sand, dude, I'll accept. You got to wait for me, and I'll accept the job when my team's eliminated from the playoff if that's what I want. And if you're not willing to do that, then I'm going to finish this season out. Everything you've preached, all the blood, sweat, and tears that you poured into that team. We criticize players in this similar situation for walking away. How could you possibly do that to your teammates? It's exponentially worse for the guy who is in charge to walk away in the most critical time of your season. But to get to that point and then to turn around and make this into a really ugly, petty thing, where there were reports out of Oxford this weekend that, again, he kept delaying things because he was trying to argue behind the scenes that they should keep letting him coach.
Hey, he blamed the AD for not letting him coach,
He then
by the
turned
way.
around and basically told his entire coaching staff that if you're not on that plane to Baton Rouge tomorrow, you're not getting a job at LSU. And so all these players that you love and you claim to care about and you claim to be invested in and you claim all of that is absolute BS. Because if that was the case, you know what you do? You say, hey, I understand that you're not going to let me keep coaching. I can fill my staff in 2 weeks when that college football play or whatever, when the playoff run comes to an end. I'll come hire my coordinator. There's no reason that Charlie Weiss Jr. shouldn't be allowed to call plays for Ole Miss in a college football playoff game, other than the fact that Lane Kiffin gave him an ultimatum and said, if you're not on the plane, you're not getting a job at LSU. And he said, okay. And he got on the plane. And now the entire offensive staff has been gutted, leaving with Lane Kiffin to LSU. There are right ways. There's not a lot of right ways to handle this. I get it. He made it as ugly as humanly possible, dragged it out to the last second, and guess what? You know who plays at Ole Miss next year?
LSU.
That is going to be one of the most anticipated college football games that I can remember in a very long time.
Oh, that is Braun coming back to Cleveland. That is Favre as a Viking in Lambeau. Like,
just villain.
I know.
Oh, my
ESPN
God.
Game Day already got that
Game
one
Day will be
circled.
there. That will be the primetime game on ABC. I don't care if Ole Miss is 0-7. It does not matter.
I need to see the reaction. That's what I need to see. Swag won't want to watch it because it's not a big deal when people come back to their old teams. But I think we also learned that. Sorry, I had to do that.
That is a hilarious callback.
Can we also carry over the audio? But
yeah,
also,
I want to play the audio.
Louisiana, did we find out that governors have zero power?
The Louisiana governor was like, we're not going to do this again. And then wait till you find out details of the contract. I'll share those with you.
Good luck buying that out.
You think you thought the Brian Kelly deal was bad? It just, some of this stuff's not absolute craziness. Lane Kiffin talked to Marty Smith. We'll play some of the audio. We'll do that next. And then eventually we got the rest of the coaching carousel blue. Everybody else is hiring coaches. Craziness over the weekend. More Lane Kiffin, though, next on The Fan.
a.m.
How about a text says, tell me how you really feel. Kiffin has proven once again he's Captain Douchebag. Timeless point history is a great predictor of future performance, always will be. I hate what Lane did, not for leaving, but the way he did it, simultaneously trying to play the hero, victim, and villain roles. Well done, Lane. Best of luck, asshat. Karma's a bitch. There you go.
Yeah, I think he had like most of America rooting for him to succeed there.
Remember
like
a fun little story in the playoff,
great,
hosting
great
a game. Like,
they're fun.
Imagine Notre Dame getting in and going to Oxford for a playoff game. How fun that would have been, and might still be. Yeah. Anyways, Marty Smith got not the scoop, but he got the interview that everybody had been waiting for.
He was forced to be there for a week.
They made him stay. He was a prisoner in Oxford, Mississippi. He finally got to go home.
Did you see he does a show on the weekends with Ryan McGee,
Marty and McGee.
Marty and McGee. And McGee is on location, and he has to bring on Marty, who can't be there to host. And he goes, anything, Marty? No, Ryan. No. Still sitting here waiting for Lane.
Lane, please.
He's just laughing at him that he has to be stuck in Oxford for a week.
For the love of God,
on Lane Kiffin watch.
Here is Lane Kiffin to Marty Smith. Hey, Lane, what the hell took so long?
It was really difficult. This has been a really special place. 6 years here. I know that there's a lot of feelings and emotions right now around. I hope when they settle down that there's an appreciation about what we're able to do here and having the best run that's ever been done in the history of the school, and brought some exciting times. So I'm so appreciative of the people of Oxford and the relationships that I developed here. And when I spoke at my dad's funeral, he moved 17 times. And I realized when all the people, I got all the letters, calls, people showed up from around all those different spots, NC State, all the different spots he coached. And they said he was able to impact them and how much that meant to them. And so I've really strived since that day to really try to impact people and help people through life, through my journey. So just prayed a lot and made a family decision and, hopefully get a chance to go, impact a whole new set of people.
So I don't know. I don't think we got two more clips and we'll play them here in a second. I don't think the audio is in there, but there was a moment in the interview that almost made my skin crawl. Like, this is your decision. You want to go? I don't think you handled it well. The timing of it was ridiculous. You getting petty and backstabbing the place that gave you the opportunity when your reputation, by the way, was incredibly questionable. This isn't some up-and-coming coach who took a G6 job, was super highly thought of, won at a high level at Ole Miss, and then
who we'd never heard of before.
He had flamed out. Yeah. He was done as a head coach, and he had slowly rebuilt his image, and Ole Miss rolled the dice on Lane Kiffin from FAU and said, we'll give you a chance, and to turn around and backstab him the way that they did. But he had an answer in there where he said, and he mentioned this after the game, he said, I'm going to call my two mentors because my dad's not here. And he said, I'm going to call Pete Carroll and I'm going to call Nick Saban, and I'm going to get their advice on what to do. Mm-hmm. This is your decision. And in the answer with Marty McGee, he essentially tried to say the reason I took the job was because Nick Saban and Pete Carroll told me to. And if I'm either of those guys, one, I'm like, dude, first off, what I said to you was in confidence. You don't go run to the media and tell them what my answer was. But two, you're the one that has to live with the consequences of this. No, he said Pete Carroll told me my dad would say to go roll the dice and take it, Lane. Take the shot. Which now all of a sudden, if I'm an Ole Miss fan, I'm like, what the hell, Pete Carroll? What the hell did I ever do to you? Mm-hmm. And it becomes a whole different thing. I hated the way he handled that. And then my dad was at 17 places, and I prayed to God. That's why you got so petty. He also talked about Ole Miss not letting him coach in the playoffs.
This was a very challenging, difficult day. We went through a lot last night with Keith Carter trying to figure out a way, to make this playoff, run work and be able to coach the team. And at the end of the day, that's his decision, and I totally respect that. I understand that decision, and so I just totally wish the team the best of luck. Wish that I was coaching, but understand that it was a very challenging position for him and the chancellor to be in, and totally respect that. So just really hope they play really well and go win the national championship.
By the way, I don't know how he did it, but I'd imagine Tex, he wasn't allowed to be at the final team meeting to say I'm taking the job. The AD would not allow him to be there. So like his whole, I wish the team luck, like win. So you told him after the Egg Bowl, so you knew after the Egg Bowl, but you made us all wait Sunday morning, and then
there was a report on Saturday night that his defensive coordinator, who's now the head coach,
Pete Golding,
walked into his office because he was waiting to see how the Auburn-Alabama game finished. Because if Auburn would have won that game, Ole Miss would have been in the SEC title game.
Yep.
And then how about that dilemma going into this weekend? Obviously, does that kick the can further down the road? But there was a report that Golding walked in and said, you're not going to be here. Get the hell out of my office.
Just just a slimy worm. And it's really unfortunate because it's somebody that had, I mean, this guy has been around long enough as a kind of a walking punchline that he was fired via overhead projector by a guy who's been dead for a decade.
He got tarmacked. Tarmacking happened.
And he was able to turn all of that around and become a likable guy. And look, I don't even begrudge him for the job, like LSU. I don't agree. I think college football, to me, I think it's about the person. I think you can get you need your institution to be aligned. You need the collectives together.
You need resources,
right?
yes.
Right. Ole Miss has shown that they have it.
They've given him everything that he has asked for.
And I understand that your title odds increase going to LSU. Okay, but you have a great shot to win a title at Ole Miss. I understand all of it. It's nuts that there were broadcasters saying that he should be allowed to coach on game day, and it's nuts that we're going to have a playoff team where half the staff has been gutted. And how am I ever?
How are they going to look in the playoff? Like, watching that game's going to be fascinating.
I don't know. What kind of matchup do they get? Do they get sent down to like a 10 seed? Do they play the 7? Are they 11 because they've lost the coach? So it's we're punishing you, but we can't punish you all the way.
Right.
I don't know, man. It's all crazy, and it's not shocking that we got to this point. It's just sad that we all talked about not letting the sport become this kind of joke.
Yeah.
And here we are today. Guess what? The sport's kind of become a joke in these ways.
Yeah, for a guy who has tried to jump around job to job and always thought the grass is greener, only to learn that that's not actually the case throughout the course of his career.
He said that about the Tennessee gig. He goes, I wish we would have had more than the year at Tennessee so we could have really built what we wanted to build. You literally did it. Yeah. And you went through it, and it didn't work, and you got tarmacked. And you still came back around and you did it again.
One more, and then we'll get to a contract note, and then we'll put a bow on Kiffin. But here he is talking about what does LSU have that Ole Miss doesn't.
I don't know all that. It just was something that I prayed on and made a family decision. And maybe it's right, maybe it's wrong. But I think a lot of times, you just go prove things right. And that's what we're going to do when we get there.
Yeah, look, I don't know what his religious beliefs are. I know there's all sorts of rumors about activity that he was participating in the Oxford community. Sometimes when people use religion as a shield, at least that's what it appears to me on the outside looking in from this case, makes my skin crawl a little bit. He is going to make $13 million annually. The details of the contract are out. So $13 million puts him as only the second coach in the sport to make $13 million. The only other one is Kirby Smart. The other point that I've seen a lot of people bring up, now I think Lane Kiffin's a good coach. I have no clue how this is going to work out long-term at LSU. I think he'll win, but I also...
Nobody knows.
I thought Brian Kelly was going to win there, and then he got fired after 3 years. Right. What's the biggest thing that Lane Kiffin's won in his career? And this isn't a guy who's been a head coach for 2 years. This guy's been around a long time. He was the last coach to win at Autzen Stadium as a head coach in 2011 for USC. 2011. It is 2025. What's the biggest thing Lane Kiffin's won in his career?
That's a great question.
I've just seen a lot of people say, like, you are giving him that 13. Kirby Smart's got 2 national championships. That's why he makes 13.
Is it LSU this year when they were still kind of ranked?
I mean, that's the Penn State win for Oregon. They're not even ranked anymore. That program is dog-ass. That's why they had to fire their coach.
By the way, didn't Shaw win at Autzen?
No, I'm saying the last USC head coach to win at Autzen. Sorry, yeah, my apologies.
Said that, I heard that wrong. Right. That's my bad.
He's the last USC head coach.
I don't know. I think that's the big point. It's Ole Miss fans are holding on to of like you didn't win the SEC.
You never won the SEC. You haven't been to an SEC title game.
Yeah.
Maybe he won a conference title at FAU that I'm unfamiliar with, but fine. All right. I find that interesting. One last contract note on this.
80%
you ready for this?
Buyout.
80% buyout. So if they fire him, LSU's right back in the spot they're in right now with Brian Kelly, where they got to pay him north of $50 million. If Ole Miss is to magically go on a playoff run, Lane Kiffin will get the bonus structure that existed in his Ole Miss contract from LSU. So if they win a playoff game, LSU gives him a bonus. If they win the national championship, LSU has to give him $1 million.
Well, they're really giving him over.
They're giving him more than $1 million, but they have to add another $1 million on top of it. He negotiated, or Jimmy Sexton did, into his deal.
I remember having like a childhood conundrum, and I remember asking my great grandma how to figure out, and it was something really childish, right? And she goes, "Just ask the Lord, baby. He'll guide your heart." And I remember doing that and not knowing where I wanted to go. Like, is my heart supposed to beat differently? I never knew how to decide like so what God was telling you and what God wasn't telling you.
I can't hear you right now, man. A little bit clearer there.
Lane, $91 million.
It's that clear.
All right, God, thanks.
Thank you for that. Lane Kiffin, now the head coach at LSU, and we all will look for our off-season, schedule update whenever we find out that date. LSU is going on the road to Ole Miss next year, and that will be probably the most anticipated game of the entire college football season.
I hope they don't get railroaded by the committee. They don't deserve it.
No,
that
they
team
do not.
Deserves a shot to at least show that they're a playoff-worthy team, and
they're going to become a strong rooting interest for a lot of people who don't have a team involved. Of like, man, dude, go on a run. Them winning a title without Lane Kiffin would be hilarious.
Now, what if you're the 7 and they're the 10?
Then I'm not rooting for them, and you're not a cute story anymore. We will crush you. You don't have an offensive coordinator. You don't have a head coach anymore. Your program's a joke. Get out of my way, Ole Miss. Let's get to putting a bow on the weekend. We haven't even talked about one of the biggest games, at least going into the weekend. We haven't even mentioned it yet, so we'll get to that. Also, the other coaching carousel stuff. We're back after this. First, here's us with a update.
Now, from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
Brought to you by Mountaintop Metal Roofing. No maintenance, energy efficient, fire resistant, and a lifetime warranty. Do it once, do it right. Visit mountaintopmetalroofing.com. First on the Fan, congratulations to the Portland Pilots men's soccer team. They have advanced to the quarterfinals of the NCAA tournament after a 1-0 result over Grand Canyon over the weekend. Late sub Joe Highfield with a goal 34 seconds after checking in. And they will host the Furman Paladins this Friday at Merlo Field, 7 o'clock.
You guys know I keep you updated on some of the shenanigans going on in my life. Would you like the latest? About a week and a half ago, I got a call from my wife. She was on a run. And my wife doesn't call during runs, so I answer the phone. I go, hello. And she goes, bring a carrot. Come outside now. I go outside. I grab a carrot. Lionhead rabbit just hopping around our neighborhood.
Whoa.
Guess who's the new owner of a lionhead rabbit?
You just scooped it up and took it inside?
It's clearly a domesticated rabbit who does not belong in the wild. They're from Belgium, by the way. It looks adorable.
You've added another one to the flock.
I have 2 lizards, a hamster, a dog, and now I have a rabbit. I am becoming a zoo.
You're Dr. Doolittle now, man.
It's Darla Buns, if you're curious.
Darla Buns is a great name.
Darla Buns.
Well done.
Thank you.
Well done. For those keeping track at home, we will have a fun week of looking back at our predictions and flip it or stick it, preseason dirty poll, all of that stuff. We're going to have fun with that this week as the week goes on. Guess how many AP preseason top 25 teams finished the season unranked? Regular season.
Unranked?
Unranked.
Well,
how many
in
in the top 25?
7?
Ooh. Okay, you got to go 7?
12.
12 is the answer. 12 of the preseason top 25 teams finished the regular season unranked.
Nice job, beat writers. Well played. More college soccer, AP voter, and Sprague rabbit stories in 30 minutes. Jason Swigert from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt missing work, insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
The home of the
Well, for a brief moment there, we all have the same thought. Oh, my God, it's going to happen again. Ohio State gave up a scoring drive to open the game to Michigan. On the second play from scrimmage, their young quarterback throws a pick. And in that moment, we all went to the same place mentally.
Then the flurries started coming down.
Oh, my God, this is happening again. I've seen this movie before. And then Bryce Underwood finishes 8 of 18 for 63 yards and a pick. And Ohio State dominates the rest of the game. They win and finally vanquish the big Michigan monkey on their back, ending a 4-year losing streak. Credit to Ryan Day, because that guy, look, I can't even begin to imagine what life has been like for him at times behind the scenes. Yes, he makes a lot of money. It's a high-paying job. He won a national title, and there's still a segment of his fan base that's like, yeah, but screw this guy. Like, people were telling him to commit suicide when he had his own father commit suicide at a young age. Super ugly. He could have easily gone petty, top rope. I'm dunking on all of you. What now? Bleep bleepers. But he didn't. He won with humility. He didn't let his team plant the flag at the middle of the field.
Well, Michigan wasn't
They weren't going to let it happen. He
that.
also was telling, no, we're not doing that. That's not what we're going to do. So,
yeah.
I didn't agree with every call he made in the game. He's still an interesting figure in the sport. I was very impressed with the way he handled it, because I don't know if I would have been mature enough to do that.
Yeah, I mean, it was to get the monkey off the back and be able to beat Michigan, and now you go in and, if you beat Indiana in the Big Ten title game, you're the number 1 seed, you're going to get a bye.
I think they're getting a bye either way.
Oh, I tend to agree with
there's
that.
no chance Ohio State drops out of the top 4.
I kind of think this is what's weird about it. I don't think Indiana or Ohio State should drop out of the top 4.
No, they shouldn't. They went undefeated. They both have quality wins. They've dominated the majority of their games. This is a reward to play in a conference championship game. And I think a segment and a theme we'll get to the rest of the week is, how do we reimagine this week? Do we like the way it exists? Are we excited for the games? Because
I'm excited for the games, but I don't think there should be much weight on them.
And that's just a weird spot to be in, where it's like, these used to be massive Saturdays, and Indiana and Ohio State might play again in 3 weeks for all we know in a semifinal game.
100% with you there. Look, I agree that, because we were texting about it, like, oh my God, like the way that started for them, you're like, they're going to do this again.
Yeah.
Once they took the lead, though,
the Jeremiah Smith touchdown on 4th down was like,
which, by the way,
catch or no catch, or touchback or no touchback.
I didn't really I guess I'll admit something here in the trust tree. I didn't really know the full scope of that rule. I thought the ball clearly broke the plane and then it got loose. So if you go by that definition, I think it's a touchdown.
I think that was the definition the refs used, but they kept it.
It was fascinating to replay that, and it felt like on the broadcast they all thought that was going to be a touchback.
I couldn't hear it because we were live. We were doing the pregame show while that was happening.
The ref
so we're
on
like
TV
watching
said
up, like, what?
He thought it was a touchback. Joe Klatt thought it was a touchback, and then the ref came out and was like, ruling on the field stance, touchdown. And it was like, okay, well that settles that.
That kind of, yeah.
But once he scored, I mean, I think this is the thing for Michigan going forward. Austin Meek has been writing about this for The Athletic. He used to cover Oregon. He's a Michigan guy, and so now he covers Michigan. He's basically like, are we sure Sherrod Moore's good? And he just talked about, hey, all right, you lost, and your offense looked abysmal. If you couldn't run the football for 6, 7, 8 yards, you couldn't do anything. And I think there's a whole other conversation in college football in general. Like, you could do the history of the sport, or you could do the last 4 years, all right, since the sport has changed in the NIL world. How many true freshman starting quarterbacks light the world on fire or overwhelmingly dominate the sport?
It's a very small number.
I mean, in the last 4 years, you're going to struggle to name a lot of them.
The two that would stand out to Jameis Winston, I believe, was a redshirt freshman.
That was 2013.
But not a true freshman either. He's a redshirt freshman.
He's a redshirt.
Johnny Manziel would be the only other one. I couldn't remember if he was a true freshman or a redshirt freshman his first year where he won the Heisman. I think he was a redshirt freshman.
I thought he's a redshirt.
I think he was, yeah.
So,
I think you're right there.
Just the true freshman thing. Like, Raiola went through this at Nebraska, right? We saw Underwood, Dante at UCLA. It's not that you shouldn't recruit the 5-star stud.
Yeah, Lagway at Florida last year.
Yeah, Lagway, right? That's a good one. It's more just like elevating programs because they got the 5-star quarterback starting. It's almost, to me, a default of, they're going to lose 3 or more games put it down in pen.
Especially against elite teams. Like, they've never seen defenses like that.
Underwood,
they couldn't throw the football.
No,
that
dude, he couldn't throw anything. He doesn't read the field. He's not patient.
Once Ohio State stopped shooting themselves in the foot, the game was over. They just had plays early where they shot themselves in the foot.
It's more like you don't stop recruiting the 5-star true freshman. It's more just like I don't think I put any stock in you starting your 5-star true freshman as a real threat.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you there. It was a game we were all excited for. The aesthetics of Michigan Ohio State will always be great. The snow this year, like it was perfect. And then by the time the third quarter rolled around, you're like, all right.
When they got the Tate touchdown, I'm like, that game's done.
Michigan's not scoring 10 more points in this game. There's zero chance that happens. A little bit of coaching news that just came out. UCLA has made a hire. They have hired James Madison's head coach, Bob Chesney. He will be heading to L.A. to be the next UCLA head coach.
Now, is that official? Because I keep seeing
Chris
that they've
Vanini
offered him 5. Okay, Chris
had it.
Vanini
He's athletic. I think that's right.
Okay,
yeah. He's going to keep coaching JMU through the Sun Belt Championship and a potential playoff bid, which they have a very good chance of getting. And John Summerall and Eric Morris will do the same at Tulane and North Texas.
By the way, JMU, good example for Oregon State fans. Like, you lost Signetti, you had the guy step up.
The next guy's gone, you go hire the next guy.
You just keep operating.
Tulane's been doing the same thing. Willie Fritz, and then you get Summerall, and then you just keep finding the next guy. You'll be fine if you're good at that level. Some of the other hires, they protested in Arkansas because they hired the Memphis head coach, Ryan Silverfield, and fans showed up with paper bags over their head because they wanted nothing to do with him.
Well, this one was weird because Wednesday we saw multiple Arkansas reporters
Golish was going to get it.
Golish got the job.
And then Golish said, hold on, let's see how the other dominoes fall. I'd rather be the head coach at Auburn because that's a better job. And then Summerall takes the Florida job. Auburn needs a head coach because they didn't get Summerall. And all of a sudden, Golish ends up going to Auburn, and then Arkansas has to look for a new head coach.
It's ballsy to roll from Napier into another group of 6 coach for Florida, but I actually applaud him for not playing the lane game. Like, go get an adult. I don't know if that guy's going to win. There might be bigger problems at Florida than just the coach, but that guy has been pretty good at Tulane since he took over for Fritz, and them not wanting to wait around for Lane Kiffin to just continue to flirt with him and not be serious. I at least applaud him for making a decision. The weird one here, Nebraska, by the way, just fired their DC. And Rule's post-game press conference after losing and being 7-5 was hilarious.
They got killed.
And he's like, yeah, I don't blame fans for being mad. Just hang with us. It's like, if you lose, like, what's your quarterback situation going to be next year? I have no idea. What is Penn State doing? Because the Chesney guy was supposed to be their main target, according to reports.
The scuttlebutt is Kalani Sitake is the prime candidate at Penn State. Now, is that true? I don't know, but that's the scuttlebutt. I think he's a great coach.
BYU guy. He's winning.
The fit is interesting to say the least.
I don't think he has an East Coast tie, does he?
Not that I'm familiar with.
Like
I don't know if he's ever even coached in the area.
Dude, you're in that garbage conference. Like, you're going to be competing. And his quarterback's a freshman.
Yeah, Bear Bachmeier's a freshman.
Now, is he going to do the sleazy, dirty thing that coaches are doing to take his quarterback with you?
Yeah, I don't know what the religious affiliation there is. He has never. I mean, Eastern Arizona, BYU, Southern Utah, Oregon State, BYU are the places
he's a Midwest.
He's never
West Coast guy.
He's a good coach. Nobody doubts that.
No
but
doubt.
I think we learned a lot of this is fit and how it works. And I
think he's a good culture builder too. But
interesting one.
You're in a good conference. You're well compensated. You're competing every year.
They fired Franklin to get a head start on the coaching carousel, and now every other job has been filled but theirs. And they were the first team to fire their head coach. It's been a disaster unless they hit a home run that we don't see coming. So
yeah, unless it's like a Mike Tomlin because he finally gets fired at Pittsburgh. Which does that get you? Mike Tomlin going to the coaching ranks get you excited?
I don't know if it does.
So like, what do they do if it's not Kalani?
Brian Daboll, maybe. He's a Penn State guy.
Oh, that's a sneaky good pull by you.
Could be it, but who knows?
Coached Bama.
If that's it, then what the hell are you waiting for? He's unemployed right now. You could have hired him a month ago.
I don't know.
Doesn't make a lot of sense. There's a recap of your weekend. Let's answer the poll questions. Get you set for talk about Brian Daboll, a juicy little Monday Night Football game. We'll get to that next on the Fan.
or shut up.
It's a great weekend. God, it's a good weekend. Hey, everybody.
I'll tell you something controversial.
No, Husky fans were chirping in my mentions this weekend. What happened? Where'd they all go?
They bowed down.
Did they? Oh, okay.
Danielson and Nestler weren't bad.
They were terrible. Terrible.
That was the best one they've had, though.
That was the best
bar
Danielson.
is so low that just Damon Williams jumping over it makes it seem like it's an impressive feat.
Whoa.
But his tiny 5'3" ass can't jump that high.
That is a low blow.
Dude, they mispronounced names the entire game. They didn't
he
know who
mixed
had the
them up a
ball
couple
half the
times.
time.
Oh,
For the
get
love
outta
of God,
here.
they've called like 7 Oregon games this year.
Yeah, you're
Just call him
exaggerating.
Poncho. Just call him Poncho and leave it at Poncho.
Why did they try to say the name? I'd bail on that name.
I don't know.
I'd call him Poncho every time. Wouldn't even care if you don't know. Google it. You know what I mean? You don't know who Poncho is? Google it.
Gary's retiring, so we don't have to deal with that anymore. They do get to call the Sun Bowl. Maybe the Huskies will go to the Sun Bowl, so you might have to deal with them one more time. That could be your bowl game. Maybe you'll get excited about your quarterback ripping a 5-7 team from the ACC again and act like that'll translate to next year. Maybe, just maybe.
They have a chance to be a 9-win team.
Hey, there you go. Trending in the right direction. Who had the worst weekend? We asked this question. Marty Smith, Jonathan Smith, Damon Williams, or Max Brosmer? Max Brosmer winning this one currently, 38.6%.
I still think it's Marty.
Followed by Jonathan Smith, 31.8%.
He got $33 million to get fired.
He did.
All day, please.
Marty Smith had to sleep in a football locker room over the weekend in Oxford. He got 18.2%, and Damon Williams couldn't complete 50% of his passes, and he got 11.4%.
Yeah.
How far will the Ducks go in the College Ball Playoff? Right now, 43.6% of you say they'll win one game and then lose. 32.7% say they'll win 2 and then lose in the semis. And then 8% of you say they're not going to win at all, and 15% of you say they'll make it all the way to the national championship game. And how do you feel about the hiring of Jamarcus Shepard in Corvallis? 43.4% love it, 28.1% like it, 27% say, we'll see. Only 1% of you don't like it. And I'm curious, are those trolls who wanted to see the results of the poll question, or if there's actual Oregon State fans who don't like it, to which point I would say, why?
I mean,
doesn't mean it's automatically
won 2
good
games
work,
this year. Like,
yeah,
what do we? It's as low as it's gonna be, man.
There's nowhere to go from up because you can't get any lower than this. This is as low as you could possibly go.
Even if you give me you actually can't get one game. Like, no, 2-1 doesn't make any difference.
You said that earlier in the show, and that's 2-10 and 1-11 is the same.
It's the same thing in my
now 0-12. People don't forget Huskies. But
Sure.
0-12 is different. 1-11, 2-10, 3-9. It's the same.
You know the difference between 0-12 and 2-10 in terms of me watching your games is nothing. I don't watch. What a waste of my time. So no, it's no different to me. I don't care. I'm excited to hear the press conference. Have we put an email out to try to get him on the program?
We indeed did.
Okay.
I'm waiting to hear back.
The bat signal has gone up.
Probably don't want to be on our show. We're not the most complimentary.
Well, give us something to be complimentary about. We're very complimentary of this hire. There's nothing but positivity.
Tomorrow at noon in Corvallis.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll have some audio on that on Wednesday.
It's going to be weird to still coach a team out and then also try to build a
Now,
program.
is he going to finish the season with Alabama as he said that, or just the SEC title game? I'll be curious
I'm just assuming he's finishing the year
because he's not a
out, but-
coordinator, so I don't.
No.
Sometimes position coaches could be different, but I'm
You're
not
right.
sure on that.
You're right. Maybe he's not. Maybe it's
Lanning
just
did it, and they won a
title.
title to Georgia, and then he took over at Oregon. We're fine. So,
Yeah.
coaches have done it. He'll find a way to do it if he does. Are we excited for Monday Night Football tonight? Jackson Dart back, right?
I'm very bummed by that.
We get a Dart May game.
Dude, Winston was killing it for me in fantasy.
I think
I'm
this
so
could be a total dud. I don't even know what the weather's like.
I think I'm going to take the Giants.
I think they can cover the number.
7.5.
Yeah.
7.5.
Patriots are constantly flirting with that number.
They've done this a lot.
We didn't get to Aaron Rodgers. We want to talk about how great Aaron Rodgers is?
Well, his receivers are running the wrong route.
Oh, it's somebody else's fault.
Yeah.
Shocking.
Hey, when we have a film session, why don't you show your ass up?
I hope his wife consoled him yesterday.
His Canadian girlfriend. You'll see her next summer. Don't worry.
She's so odd. I'll show
She's
you a
real to
picture.
me, damn it. That'll do it for us, folks. If you missed any of the show, fun one, 1051thefan.com, 1051thefan on Twitter, at Dirt and Sprague on Twitter. Bill Oram was our guest columnist, the Oregonian, talking about Oregon State hiring a coach and Oregon punching their ticket to the College Ball Playoff. Stick around on YouTube, and you'll see one Daniel Meringue in green and yellow face paint. That is coming up next, and we will talk to you tomorrow at 6 a.m. The Firm. If Harrison Meringue is next, listen to 1051 FM The Fan.